Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Open. It's Tuesday, November 5th, 8:48 a.m., and we are live once again to cover the global capital equity markets and a little bit of the coverage today on the show. Maybe a little bit more than just a little bit of the coverage today in the beginning of the show is going to be on one company that we have covered on this channel for the better part of 4 years, that we have been trying to dissect as a retail community for the better part of 4 years, and that, quite frankly, is one of the most astonishing, incredible companies there is to invest in the stock market. And yesterday, if you haven't been living under a rock, that company reported 30% top-line revenue growth. We are back to growing in the world of Palantir. And as a result, this stock is at $48.50, up 17% in the pre-markets right now. I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the adjective is. I don't know what the series of phrases you could use to describe this right now, other than just wow, incredible, like quite frankly, speechless. Palantir right here up 17%. We got a lot to talk about in the world of what's happening with Palantir today. Also, we have an election coming up, and we'll talk about that later. But the fact that Palantir is running 17% right now in the face of an election, we'll see what happens when the market opens and when all the algorithms take place. But the fact that it's up 17% in the pre-markets means there's buyers for their stock, and there's buyers for the stock at 46, 47, and 48, which it's been sitting at basically for the past 15 hours. And there's buyers for the stock because those numbers were incredible. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to dive into. And honestly, this was one of those quarters that was just an exceptional quarter. And there's a lot to explain from this quarter. Now, look, I got a lot of calls last night when Palantir went up 20% after hours, or 15% after hours. And the calls were based on this idea that, hey, quarter was amazing, but when Palantir opens up today, if this stock holds at this level, it's going to be close to $115 billion market cap. Does that make any sense? And I think we all have to get accustomed to the idea, and we've been saying this on the show for a long time, that this is a stock that is going to be expensive for a while. And it's going to be expensive for a while because there's something unique that they have that the rest of the world doesn't have. And it's kind of two things. One is Alex Karp, management and leadership, and that's something that we cannot forget about. The other thing is reaccelerating growth within a thematic that the market believes, we'll see if this happens over the next decade, we'll all find out, but the market believes at this moment, this new thematic of AI is going to be worth many, many trillions of dollars. And Palantir is one of the only names, Alex Karp said it himself, when customers have a intro call with them on sales, they're one of a couple names that they have to call. And if they don't go with Palantir, they try to call some other names and they come back to Palantir when they're not satisfied with those other names. If they're one of the only software applications in this broader multi-trillion-dollar AI thematic market, does that mean it deserves to be worth a crazy multiple? Maybe not, but also maybe so. And at least right now, the market is saying, yes, it deserves to be worth that. And sometimes you kind of don't fight the market. Sometimes you kind of just enjoy what the market gives you. And right now, the market is giving an incredible look at Palantir. So we got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. We're going to dive into all the numbers, all my top line thoughts. And then we're going to keep going from there and see what we got going on Palantir. Dragos, thank you for the $20 super chat. You are the reason I took a deep look at Palantir in March. I love you, brother. Thank you, Dragos. I love you too. I got a lot of these messages last night as well. Quite frankly, more than the gains on Palantir stock, I love these messages because a lot of people that have regular jobs that don't have time to study the markets and all this stuff, they ended up finding my channel. And as a result of finding my channel years ago, they took a little bit of a gander at Palantir at $7-8. And I did not know this would turn into the community that it has turned into, but I'm just unbelievably grateful that this is the community that we have. And the company is executing to keep the community going the way it's going. So it's just really exciting, dude. It's really, really, really fucking exciting to be in this moment and see how Palantir is operating. So we got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into, a couple high-level thoughts, and then I want to get into the numbers right here. Palantir at 17.7%, 48.55. We did hit 48.89. Here's the big thing on my mind. By the way, I slept at like 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep last night. I mean, could you sleep? My girl texted me right here at 1:54 a.m. She's like, why are you not sleeping? I don't know how she found out I was awake. I think she went on Instagram and like she slided, she like, saw my name, and there's that green light on Instagram that shows you're active. She probably thought I was talking to other girls, but I was like, no, babe, I wasn't talking to other girls. I texted her back. I was like, how could you sleep knowing Palantir re-accelerated back to 30% top line growth after 3 years? Like 1:54 a.m. It's not easy to sleep knowing Palantir re-accelerated back to 30% top line growth after 3 years. And then I broke up with her. I was like, you know what? The fact that you don't understand this, I'm done. I'm done with this, bro. I'm not dealing with this shit. How could you not know that? No, but literally, I couldn't sleep till like 3 a.m. last night. I was up thinking about these numbers. And as someone who's been covering the stock for a couple of years now, or better part of 4 years, it's one of those things where it's like you've been waiting for this moment, and this moment is here, and now it's happening. And it's just basking in the moment. And it doesn't mean the job is done. It doesn't mean the journey is over. It doesn't mean the stock can't go down from here. Like it just means, wow, the company's back. They're really back, and it's their time to shine. So a couple of high level thoughts. Then I want to get into all the numbers, and there's a lot of numbers to get to. Also, we had an analyst on CNBC yesterday that we finally got his real reaction. Like, tell me how you really feel type of reaction to Alex Karp. And for those that missed that clip, we're going to have to play that clip and show you guys what he thinks, because it was a hell of a moment for the analyst to respond to how he feels about Alex Karp, basically saying analysts don't know anything. So we're going to react to that and keep going from there. All right. Thank everybody for being here. Appreciate it. Justin, Ottoman, Gatekeeper, Blake, Bay Ray, Jason, Scott, what's up? Thank you for being here. Scott says, hi, Mitt. Finally a member since yesterday, having joined the Palantir community because of you. My portfolio keeps shooting up. Bought 1,000 shares before the market closed yesterday. Grateful for you. I had a friend, so shout out to you, Scott, that bought 500,000 shares in the morning. He's up like $5 million today. So, I mean, already buying at 40, 41, 42, we all felt as a community, that's a little risky, right? That's a lot of them. But you got some Palantir whales that were like, no, screw it, we're buying. So, yeah, if you bought yesterday, you are up right now. So congrats to you, and incredible stuff. Mitch, Paul, Emad, Diane, Jeff up 4.6x on Palantir. That makes me so happy to see. Regular retail investors up almost 500% on a stock. Are you kidding me? That's not easy to do. Most fund managers can do it. Retail usually doesn't have the edge against fund managers unless there's a community that gives retail that edge. Bay Ray says, Palantir is the second best performing S&P stock year to date. Well, if NVIDIA falls 2%, and I think Palantir keeps this like 18% run that it's on in the pre-markets, Palantir will be the best performing stock in the S&P 500 year to date, which who would have thought? Who would have thought at $16 in January that would actually happen? It looks like it's happening, which is just absolutely incredible. Okay, so a couple high-level thoughts, then we'll get into the numbers. We got a lot of numbers to get into. I think the Palantir coverage is going to be at least like 30 minutes today, folks, in the morning. We got a lot to talk about, and then we'll get into all the other stuff going on. Truly, I mean, Palantir is the story of the day, right? There's like nothing else other than Palantir in terms of the level of excitement and momentum it's creating for the broader market. Even if you don't have shares in the company, I think it's something to keep into account because it gives you a broader landscape of AI. I will have a Palantir employee joining at 10 a.m. Eliano, our boy, who has, done a really good job building this community from the merch perspective and bringing everyone together. So he'll be on at 10 a.m. and he'll be able to talk about the merch store, the vibes of the company, and kind of the excitement internally, give it these numbers. So he'll be on at about 10 a.m. in about an hour. Okay, so two things. Number one, I just want to say shout out to the community. I said this last night, but I think it's really important to say this. I said this on the market close the other day, or the market opened yesterday, and I really want to echo this sentiment. The community is so special because we all come from different walks of life for this common purpose, which is Palantir. And I think it's very special in life, and it's very rare in life to have a certain subject bring a lot of people together, even if these people have different races, religions, political beliefs. In my case, I know you guys will say sexual orientations, but like everyone has different beliefs and ideas, and coming together over this one topic, which is Palantir, is very special. The other thing that's really nuanced here is that, and I thought about this yesterday, it's a thought that I can't get out of my head, which is that if Palantir wasn't executing, it would be very hard for the community to stay together. This community is built on a company and analyzing a company, but that company has to execute. Otherwise, like the community is very hard to exist, right? If Palantir was just like some penny stock that wasn't really executed, like what would there be to talk about? What would there be to communicate about? What would there be to actually have news to be able to discuss and get excited about? It's because Palantir is such a phenomenal company, and their execution has just been better than you could ever imagine in 2024. And hopefully that continues in 2025, that we have the news to cover. We have the excitement to enjoy the different types of accomplishments that they achieve, and that we have the culture that Palantir is creating as a now $100 billion company to imagine the possibilities of where Palantir can go in the future. Because one day, if Palantir is a $1 trillion company, there's going to be a lot more people in the community. And it's really nice to have these early days of all of us being together, enjoying this process, and being here together as a community. I mean, like yesterday, we're 7,500 people on the earnings call. We're going to remember those moments. And I think that's just so special. Outside of the money, this really matters, bro. Life is about memories and relationships. And the fact that Palantir is giving us the opportunity for us all to create that is very important. Number two, Palantir's philosophy, and I just want to say this before we get into the numbers, I think we can sum up in one sentence. And that sentence is give more than you take. This is a stat that will kind of contextualize what I'm saying right here. Their rule of 40, which is a measure on how healthy a company is in the context of profitability plus their growth rate, is 68%. If it's above 40%, when you add your growth rate plus your operating profitability, that is a healthy company. We are at 68%, and the reason that Palantir is at 68% is because they don't pay a ton for sales. Sales is one of the main things that takes away from that operating profit, and that could theoretically decrease the growth rate just because of the money that you're paying up, which then, breaks that rule of 40 go down lower. I think everyone needs to pay attention to this number. This is a number that Alex Karp spent a lot of time talking about. This number is unheard of in SaaS companies to have a 68% rule of 40 score. Now, what does this mean? This means give more than you take. The only reason that we don't have to pay that much for sales is because Palantir, with their AIP boot camps, are giving as much as they can to the customer, whether it's the government or whether it's a commercial enterprise, before they even think of asking for $1. This is a methodology that is revolutionary. And when I say that, I really mean revolutionary, because it's unheard of in the SaaS enterprise marketplace, because most companies make you sign an offer and then an NDA and then a down payment and all this different stuff before they even give you the software to be able to work with. Palantir's like, nope, we're going to come to your organization. We're going to give you the software. We're going to let you work with it. We're going to work with you. We're going to spend our expensive forward deployed engineers engaging with you as a company, and we're going to build something meaningful for you before you even think of giving us $1. That, to me, is giving more than you take. And I'm so fucking proud to invest in that type of a company, because that is my philosophy in life. That is my philosophy in life. There is a reason that I think this channel is successful. There's a reason that I think people keep coming back. And there's a reason there's a tight-knit community here. It's because personally, I try to give more than I take. And the example in my line of fear, in my line of business, is like not selling out, not selling some stupid courses, not saying, hey guys, there's a bunch of people in the chat, sign up to my $50 Discord where I'm barely going to give you any value, but you're going to pay me $50 a month. Like, that is taking more than you give. And I'm just so unbelievably grateful for the attention and for people actually showing up every morning and for people texting me that they're listening to me on their way to work. That means everything to me. And I'll figure out what that means business-wise over the long term. But in the long term, you need an audience to do anything. And that means you have to give way more than you take to build a sustainable audience. And I think Palantir 20 years ago, they recognized this as well. They said, hey, we're not going to suck money out of the government until we give them a reason to want to pay us money. And as Alex Karp talked about on the earnings call yesterday, now they have so many government contracts. And the reason they keep winning is because Shyam Sankar is actually leading the charge on continuously making sure the government knows we are here to provide value. You can pay us later, but we're going to make sure America is strong. I think when they go to BP or Airbus or Tampa General Hospital, they're saying, hey, we're here to provide value. You pay us at the end, but you don't pay us until you actually love what we've built for you. That is special. That is very fucking special. And so that's one of the high level thoughts I want to start off this analysis from, is like, you are investing in a company. Again, valuation is whatever. Stock could go up and down. Forget the stock for like the next 10 minutes, just like the business itself. The business itself is a unicorn that says we want to actually deliver value in a world that has fake gimmicks on figuring out how to suck money out of clients, government and commercial. And as a result of actually being authentic enough to provide value, there is a reason why they're growing 30%. There is a reason why their average revenue per client went up for the second quarter in a row. There's a reason why their adjusted operating margins are at a staggering 38%. In a quarter or 2 quarters, it's going to be 40 freaking %. There's a reason their free cash flow margin is 60%. There's a reason that they're doing $1 billion trailing 12 months of free cash flow, because they don't have to spend the margins on sales and marketing, because they don't need to actually pay to acquire a customer, because when they get into a customer's ecosystem, they're able to convert them based on the product alone. It is one of the most interesting and exciting methodologies of sales. Chris Camillo, who was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, he talked about boot camps as one of the major reasons why he doesn't give a shit about the valuation. He just thinks this is so unheard of in terms of SaaS, and he worked at Salesforce for a long time, so he knows what it means to like sell steak dinners and PowerPoints. And I think that's something we've got to understand. Karp spent a long time on the earnings call really highlighting the point that when you give a fuck about your customers, amazing things can happen. In my line of work, when you actually give a fuck about your audience and don't just treat them as people you can sell something to, amazing things can happen, which is you could build an incredible community that can be very long lasting and really build something special. So I think those are my high level thoughts. Number one, the community is amazing, and this community continues to get more amazing as the company executes. And it's been a hell of a year for the community. There's going to be good times. There's going to be bad times. 2022 was bad. 2024 was really good, but we stick through it together. And then the company that we're investing in is a company that simply cannot be ignored, because they are not doing it the way that regular software companies do it. Is that worth a premium on the stock? Absolutely. Is that worth the current premium that's on the stock? That's up for the market to decide. Does it deserve to be worth $120 billion because of that? One could argue that it will simply grow into that valuation over time. And that is kind of undeniable, that we've seen other companies grow into the valuation, even though they've been expensive in the present day. But are there arguments you can get to say, hey, this deserves a little bit more attention. This deserves a little bit more premium. Maybe I'm paying $5-10 extra, but that is okay because I'm part of the story, and no other company on the planet is going to give a fuck about their customers the way Palantir gives a fuck about their customers. I think that does matter. And as a result, that's why we're seeing some of the upside momentum that we got going on right now in Palantir. All right, so that's what we got. Dan Ives did indeed raise his price target on Palantir to $57. So let's start off with that. Let's read the new Dan Ives price target report. We also had D.A. Davidson that raised their price target to $47. So we got two big price targets today in terms of upgrades. D.A. Davidson to 47 and Dan Ives to 57. We don't have Bank of America yet, but I'm sure we'll get Bank of America soon. And then we'll listen to an analyst who still has a $28 price target and see what he has to say. So here's what Dan Ives said. Oh, actually, we got a bunch of other ratings as well. Okay, so here we go. Dan Ives raising price targets to 57 from 45 due to increased confidence in AIP strategy as use cases for AI take hold over the next 12 to 18 months. This was an eye-popping quarter for the Messi of AI as AIP demand grows, with more enterprises recognizing the value of Palantir's full product suite. So Dan Ives has the highest price target on the street right now at 57. He previously had the highest price target at 45. D.A. Davidson, Palantir's Q3 was a beat and raise quarter with revenue growth accelerating to 30% year over year on strong U.S. government demand. However, international commercial revenue was down 7% sequentially, reflecting reliance on the U.S. market. With operating income margins at 38%, we see stability but maintain a neutral rating. Now, they're not wrong about the international markets coming down. Alex Karp did talk about this, and he basically called out Europe, and he said Europe's going to get left behind in the AI revolution. So I don't know if that line in the earnings call is going to be enough for Europe to get their act together, but it does seem like Europe's probably not going to be growing, at least for the next couple quarters, unless Palantir can do something about it. The U.S. is the market for Palantir to continue accelerating growth in. Mizuho underperformed 37. Palantir posted a solid Q3, but valuation concern remains. Despite the positive government wins, the company's international commercial growth lags, with growth rates indicating a potential peak in certain segments. While deserving of a premium, valuation should not be overlooked. We remain underperformed. This is kind of the same argument a lot of analysts have been saying, which is like, look, we get the story. It deserves more of a premium, but $120 billion is just a little bit too much to pay. And that's some of what the analysts are saying after Q3. William Blair says Palantir's Q3 beat driven by government division wins masks weak commercial performance. U.S. commercial growth deaccelerates to 59%. This to me is misleading. It was at 70%, going down to 59%. Yes, is that a technical deacceleration? Correct, but it's not going to stay at 70% forever, right? Like it'll probably average out around 30% over the next year or two. So, I mean, to nitpick on that to me is ridiculous versus recognizing a 59% growth rate in U.S. commercial. While international commercial revenue grew just 2%, the new 2024 guidance only matches estimates from 2 years ago. At $118 billion market cap, we view Palantir's valuation as stretched, especially compared to Snowflake, which offers high revenue and similar growth rates. So we'll talk about valuation in a bit, but that does seem to be some of the concerns that analysts have. I think it's a fair concern, you can say, but I think a lot of them are ignoring some of the value that Palantir launched in Q3. In terms of actual operating results, especially operating margins, which is something that, could be deserving of a much higher premium. Let's listen to one of those analysts last night again talk about the valuation.
Comps get harder now.
Product-led growth makes sense to me. I mean, Atlassian and others have done it, only spending as much in sales and marketing as you have to. They seem to still be selling. I don't personally know Alex Karp, but it sure seems to me like he's taking a shot at analysts every chance he gets. You've got a hold on Palantir. You know, it's up more than 12% after hours. Maybe he's talking about you. What does it take to get you off of a hold here with as high as this stock has gone?
Yeah, he likes to attack us and say that we still stay in Motel 6s, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I mean, look, I think the challenge we have as analysts is we're here to protect investors. And the companies, in terms of the financial momentum, is an A. But when you have a multiple at 30 times, and we've seen this movie before, John. I mean, you've had Snowflake trade at 50 times revenue. You had Datadog at 30 times. How did those multiples end? They're all materially lower. And so we think, again, the challenge right now is you're in a level where you have no one in their remote atmosphere in terms of the multiple. So you're going to have to go back to a TAM analysis and believe, almost like when ServiceNow was 30 billion TAM, did you think it was going to get to 175 or $200 billion TAM? And that's the only way you can make it work right now for long-term investors. You have to look at it that way. There's no other way to value it. I mean, there's just nothing remotely close. I mean, CrowdStrike's a company that serves way more people than Palantir and has half the multiple and is the next most expensive name.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, that's the hard part. Momentum's there. Valuation is the concern.
So what's really weird here, right? When he says, so the argument he's, first of all, the protect investors part was hilarious because, as we said in the chat, he's protecting investors from gains. Like, what is he protecting investors from? What's going on right now? So I thought that part was funny because, you know, institutional analysts are institutional analysts. One thing that Arnie said last night that I think was interesting was that this guy is super bullish on other software stocks. If he goes heavy for Palantir, he has to be pseudo bearish on those other names to an extent. I mean, he can't be as bullish on Microsoft if he's super bullish on Palantir, because then his clients will be like, well, I'm overweight Microsoft, underweight Palantir. Should I be overweight Palantir, underweight Microsoft? And if he has to change what he told those analysts probably 2 years ago about the Palantir versus Microsoft story, Microsoft is one of the stocks he analyzes. That's why I'm using that in this example. Then his ego gets hit, right? I mean, no one wants to admit they're wrong. Everyone, you know, especially in the finance game, like your stock picks are kind of the bread and butter of what gets you paid. Your bonuses are determined on how much a stock goes up if you've called it for your clients. A lot of these guys can't buy the stock, but they get a big bonus if the stock goes up or down based on their buy or sell recommendation. So he just lost his fucking bonus. I mean, let's just be very clear. He's not getting a bonus from at least from Palantir this year. So admitting you're wrong would also have to admit that, like, you got the thesis wrong. And as an analyst, you're not supposed to get the thesis wrong, which is, you know, what it seems like he got wrong. Now, he brings up ServiceNow at the end, and he says, oh, if you were analyzing ServiceNow, you would have to do a TAM analysis and think that their TAM could go from 30 billion to 200 billion. When he says that, I'm like, why can't you do that for Palantir? Because then I looked at ServiceNow stock. ServiceNow is up 3,700%. It was $24 in 2012. Currently, the market cap is 200 billion. And now it's at $940. I'm not saying ServiceNow is more expensive than Palantir. Obviously, Palantir is, just given their growth and given their market cap compared to ServiceNow, even in today's valuations, Palantir is obviously more expensive. But his argument is, like, you have to do a different type of analysis outside of a current numerical valuation to be able to come to a conclusion around Palantir. And my argument is, like, yeah, and that's okay. I mean, that's what retail's been doing for a very long time. I mean, dude, retail, when Arnie and I were talking about this stock at $7-8, and even then you could argue at $7-8, it was close to $20 billion. It was like barely growing. Like, people even then were saying Palantir. I mean, there was an article on Seeking Alpha saying Palantir deserves to be $5. And then Palantir touched $5, like $5.84 in December 2022. And all of us in the community were just laughing because, like, well, I guess the Seeking Alpha dude was right. We touched $5, right? It was a low point. So we were just laughing in our misery. But the point is, even then, people were saying it was overvalued. And you had to believe in the TAM. You had to believe in the actual technology moat. You had to believe that an ontology matters more than a commoditized large language model, right? Like, you had to believe in these things. These things are not price to sales, PE, yada, yada. These things are all qualitative assessments of the business. You had to believe in Western values. You had to believe that American defense spending was going to go up, that German defense spending was going to go up. You just had to believe in so many other parts of the business that you could only understand, quite frankly, if you were obsessed with the company every single day. And a lot of these analysts are not obsessed with the company every single day. They take a look at their Bloomberg terminal, they take a look at the numbers, they say overvalued, undervalued, and they move forward. The reason Dan Ives and Mariana have got this story correct as some of the only analysts on Wall Street is because they actually studied Palantir. And you can disagree with their numbers all you want, but Dan Ives like talks to customers. Mariana is a defense analyst outside of software. She understands how sticky of a moat it is to have your platforms sit on top of government data. Guess what? The government is lazy. If they find something they like, they're not going to go to something they don't like or that they have to learn about, especially if you're doing a good job and they can trust you with the data. That is a moat that cannot simply be defined through the quantitative numbers. It has to be looked at from a qualitative perspective. And then Alex Karp, he is a reason people will buy the stock, whether the analysts like it or not. Even if the analysts hate Karp in terms of what he says about their research reports, if he goes on CNBC and Karp talks and inspires people, at the end of the day, investing is investing in people. And I think that is a part of the moat. Same thing with Elon and Tesla. There is a key man risk there, sure, but Elon is one of the reasons people invest in that company. And that's something that we can't forget about. So I think the analysts have failed over the past couple of years to really understand what is Palantir. They've relied on numerical metrics and sort of valuations, which are a big part of the thesis, but it's not the only part of the thesis. And I'm not saying Palantir isn't super expensive here. I'm just saying there is a way to justify it being close to $50. And, the easiest way to justify it, forget all the stuff I said, is that AI is a multi-trillion-dollar market and Palantir is going to grow into it. Palantir is going to have 50, 70% growth one day. And, $100 billion is going to seem cheap in the grand scheme of things if they're able to grow. Now, that's a big if. That's a risk. I believe they'll be able to get there. That's going to take time to see. It's not going to happen overnight. And I definitely wouldn't suggest, just FOMOing into the stock and like, oh my God, I got to get it at $48 because it's going to go to 60 soon. Maybe it does, but maybe it goes back to 40. Maybe it goes back to 35. Like these are things where you have to have a time horizon to be able to guide your decision making. But if you have a very clear time horizon and you are actually long the company besides the stock and you understand what Karp's doing here, it becomes easier to hold the stock over the long term. And that's why I think they justified the levels and the momentum that they're having right now. In terms of top line metrics, what did they actually show that was just incredible? Well, there was a couple of core things. So we have 30% top line revenue growth at $726 million. That was amazing. We had 44% US revenue growth at $499 million. That was just like incredible. This was 54% US commercial, 44% overall US revenue growth, which again, not easy to do, but they did it. 39% year-over-year customer count. This one is slowing down. Now, 40% year-over-year customer count is still amazing, but it is slowing down slightly. So I would hope in the next quarter that reaccelerates and we get that up to like 45%. But nonetheless, they still added about 40 customers, they added 37 customers, which is great to see. 104 deals closed at $1 million, 39% adjusted operating margins. I think that's one of the reasons why the street's giving them this love, because their margins are getting very juicy, even if the top line revenue growth is not 40, 50% yet. $1 billion of free cash flow guidance. Before they said $800 million to $1 billion. Now they're doing $1 billion, which is incredible. And then they have $4.6 billion in cash and no debt. That's another reason this is really exciting, because $4.6 billion in cash means that they're collecting a juicy amount from treasuries. Right now, the $145 million they made in net income yesterday, 52 million of that, so about a third of that, was treasury income. Now, that treasury income is going to come down, especially when the Fed cuts rates in 2 days. But the operating income margins going up mean the actual income from operations should go higher as those margins go up, and the treasury income going lower is not going to matter. Also, imagine as rates come down, and they've got $4.6 billion in cash. Probably in 2 quarters, they're going to have $5 billion in cash if they don't spend any of it. By the way, they did buy back 1.8 million shares. Inconsequential. I mean, doesn't matter too much. It's nice to see them buying back shares, but 2 million shares on a company with 2.4 billion outstanding is just not that big of a deal. But they have, continued to buy back shares. I think they would have bought back more, but then they saw the stock run up a lot, right? So if the stock stayed in the low 30s, they probably would have bought back a lot more. But I think they bought in that August 5th area, which is when they bought about 2 million shares. If they take this $5 billion in cash, 4.6 billion, and they decide to invest it in growth. By the way, Kathy Wood did sell another 200,000 shares yesterday before earnings. So it kind of looks like, dude, I don't know if she's doing it. It kind of looks like she's liquidating her position. I'm not saying she is yet, but she's sold close to 1 million shares over the past couple of weeks. I'm just saying, like, who knows? We'll see. We'll see if that position continues to get trimmed, but she did sell yesterday again. If they take that 4.6 billion in cash and they say, we did 1,500 boot camps this year, we're going to do 10,000 next year. And we're just going to hire like 1,000 people and we're just going to put them onto the boot camps, right? I'm just speaking kind of metaphorically here in the abstract. I don't know what that could do to growth, because that's going to decrease their cash pile. But if you're not getting any money off the cash in with interest rates in T-bills, you should invest it in top line growth. And if their adjusted operating margins are so high and they can just keep printing money by converting deals because they have the workforce, as Karp said, the only bottleneck is not dollars, it's the actual workforce, the talent themselves to execute against building boot camps across the world, not just in the United States. Maybe they set up shop in Italy and Germany and they're like, all right, we're really going to try to get this international revenue go up by doing this boot camp methodology there in Switzerland. And the European enterprises are like, wow, this is one of the best ways we've ever been sold software. Maybe that type of growth could be incredible. And so I think we're going to have to see kind of what they do with that money, but they have that money in cash. Now it's a question of them being able to deploy it. And if they deploy it in an effective way, we should see. We've got Kramer talking about Palantir right now on CNBC. Let's bring that up and let's see what the street is saying on Palantir.
Given how strong our results are, I almost feel like we should just go home. You see every part of U.S. government, including the White House, Congress, defense, intel, beginning to embrace the application of large language models in infrastructure, obviously something that Palantir is particularly specialized in. And we are really, I think, as a company, enjoying this phase. Instead of going into every meeting saying, oh yeah, Palantir's great, but their fearless leader is bad crazy. And, he might go off to his commune in New Hampshire and whatever they were saying. It's now like, yeah, the products are the best and we have great products. And so that's a really important shift. And that was a business strategy, and it really was done by others. And that has shifted our ability to get to market because, most people don't want to resist. They're not hating the player, they're playing with us.
And what Karp is saying right there also is very important. You could have whatever opinion you want of Karp. If the software works, you're going to buy it, is what Karp's saying. And again, that is just the most authentic way to lead. Karp didn't change himself to get clients. He's continued to stay, in his words, batshit crazy. But people love the product so much because of this bootcamp methodology of selling that they stayed with it. And I think that is very, very important to understand. Palantir is making the world acquiesce to them. They are not acquiescing to the world. And as a result, the world is rewarding them.
Karp's always had a sharp tongue when it comes to the shorts, Jim.
I'm with him. Okay, I can't take it anymore. You're with him. Yeah, I'm with him. I can't take it.
He won you over?
Yeah, he's just too, against the grain. My favorite line was, man, I love that. I was going to quote that, but we're in it together with you, besides making America even stronger and better, and our allies stronger and better, and all of us more lethal. David, he's made me more lethal.
Lethal.
I feel lethal.
U.S. growth, 40% year over year?
44%.
And then,
David, how many times I mentioned that?
And then
it's like a drinking game.
And then 54% year over year growth in U.S. commercial revenue.
Yeah.
Customer count up 77% year over year.
These
are the kinds of numbers that get a stock, that get this company's market value above $100 billion. That said, Jim and Carl, the valuation, and I'll just refer here to one analyst note. This analyst, by the way, has gotten it completely wrong.
He's very helpful.
But when it comes to valuation of the stock, it is perhaps one reason why certain investors will just not wade into the shares. It's trading at 2 times the multiple of the next most expensive stock in our coverage, 31.5 times calendar year 25 revenues. That doesn't give you pause?
I've told you it's a cult stock. It's owned by individuals, and it's owned by individuals because they're doing something that is exceptional. They're telling you, look, we're doing great. We're having a great season. We're going to make the playoffs. We're probably going to be in the Super Bowl. Get on board. And Carl, they are not like other companies. They run a conference call like a playoff game coach after the game saying how he feels, giving you the rule of 40. I think that they may be a little bit like Adam Aaron, but not too much, but definitely they are the most promotional company.
I was going to say, one line here. We absolutely eviscerated this quarter.
Yeah.
You don't get that kind of commentary often, and you usually like under promise, over deliver.
I can't. That's why I say I can't thank him more.
They did eviscerate the quarter. I don't think them getting upset that Palantir is being a little cocky. Come on, dude. You're at $100 billion market cap. You've got to sell yourself to Wall Street. You've got to have the level of confidence you have when you're up this much year to date. I think this is more so about Palantir just saying, hey, like, we're the real deal, versus them trying to brag that they're good. If they were, that's just not their philosophy is give more than you take. But when they actually produce the results, yeah, you're going to have a little bit of bragging. I don't think that's something to necessarily be concerned about.
I mean, Carp took his stock to a super strong buy. Carp took it from buy to super strong. He's exciting. I mean, he makes the game interesting, and he's got individuals doing it, and his numbers back him up. He does have a lot of defense contracts. I know people in the Pentagon who actually swear by this guy. That's another reason why I reluctantly, I have to admit, I started embracing the stock when I heard the individuals say, listen, Jim, we're taking this one past NVIDIA. You better get on board. Or what, David? Or what? What are they going to do to me if I didn't get on board?
Nothing. I mean, although they have a lot of power. They're lethal. So you should be careful. Because he may just wear a T-shirt, but he's a dangerous man.
Well, his defense stuff is apparently great. We don't really know what they have. We know that they have accelerated revenue growth. They have rule of
By the
68.
way, he's got some serious bodyguards, too. You don't want to mess around.
True?
I mean, the U.S. government absolutely demands that he be protected at all times. So when you see him, he's got guys all over you.
David,
said,
he said he's a national treasure.
This is generative AI being used in the enterprise in a real way, and by the U.S. It's a usage case.
Consumer.
I don't even. I mean, this if that's their analysis on Palantir, this is why CNBC doesn't really get some of these companies, and CNBC gets bullish on Nvidia when Nvidia is worth $3 trillion. That's when they get bullish on Nvidia. So, maybe when Palantir gets to $1 trillion, they'll start to get bullish. But right now, to me, they're kind of taking it as a joke in terms of what the earnings call got. And I think this is essentially what Nate says. They're being trolls right there. They're being fundamental trolls. And I don't think they understand the level of rigor Carp went through over 20 years to get to this moment. Yeah, you're going to be a little cocky on the earnings call. And look, there's a thin line between confidence and cocky. Carp knows how to walk that line very well, because confidence assumes, or cocky assumes, some level of arrogance and like this grandeur idea that the world sucks, we're the best. And when you make people feel like that, it's a little bit of a turnoff. When you're confident, it's, hey, the world sucks because they don't care about their clients. That's why we're the best. It's more so Carp saying we are the best because we actually care. We don't want 10,000 customers. We want 1,000 customers, but we want to make them the best customers in the world. We want to make them the best companies in their industries in the world. That's why we deserve to be a little cocky, because we actually care about them. And these guys, they can be cocky on their steak dinner. They're not cocky about the results because they don't have any results. And I think that's kind of the nuance there. And I don't think, CNBC has ever understood that. As Crossroads says, it's still weird for me to see the street hyping Palantir. Yeah, and again, this is why listening to CNBC sometimes it can skew kind of the way you think of these generational companies. I mean, literally 4 weeks ago, Kramer said it's a cult stock. You got to get rid of it. The apes are crazy, yada yada. You could argue it's a cult stock, and I've agreed it's a cult stock, but it is not GameStop or AMC to me. It's just not, and it's not because Palantir is up 150% this year and GameStop and AMC are down. It's because they're selling something real. And you could have concerns about valuation all you want, but they are selling something real. They actually care about their clients, and that's why Palantir is getting the results that they're getting right now. So Wall Street seems to be catching on a little bit, although some Wall Street analysts are still pretty bearish on it. CNBC, I don't know if they're going to catch on or if they're just going to see this story continue to get higher. One thing that Jim did say, though, is that it seems like this is a company that is going to be one of the next NVIDIAs. If they have NVIDIA level growth, I think they have all the characteristics to be the next NVIDIA. And when I mean that, I don't mean $3 trillion company, but what I do mean is that they have the ability to potentially get the momentum that the market cares about, and for the market to fall in love with it in terms of a re-accelerating growth story. Because again, the market's looking to allocate the growth, but they've got to put up that growth. And if they do put up that growth, then it's going to be a very exciting world for Palantir. It's just a question of growth now. And look, 30% top line revenue growth. They put up the growth. By the way, one of the other numbers that was really important was 40% revenue growth, 40% government revenue growth. Something that, we haven't really seen in a while by Palantir on the government side. And that part of the business is also getting stronger and stronger. Here's some comments Carp gave to CNBC yesterday as well, right after the earnings.
Palantir and the losers will read analyst notes. that, quote, the winners in AI will be powered by Palantir and the losers will read analyst notes. In his shareholder letter, Karp saying, quote, this is the software century and we intend to take the entire market. So I asked how Palantir plans to do that. Karp pointing to the defense side, a shift to software driven with hardware dominated military environment. The case in point, Maven, which is deployed in the Middle East. On the commercial side, saying any vertical with complex operations is where they're seeing adoption. Hospitals, manufacturing, logistics, to name a few. Karp saying, quote, what I want you to tell people is we need to invest even more in the government space and in industry and implementing AI that is actually changing our enterprise, because this is how we make America even stronger and there is no real alternative to us. He says it could be called almost U.S. AI, that, quote, our bias on this is so differentiated from the market, although apparently people in Silicon Valley are starting to understand this, but it's just giving a structural advantage to America first and our allies second. You can see this on the battlefield. You see it in U.S. industry. The inverse of this, you see it in the sluggishness, lack of perception, and general malaise in continental Europe, that it's a tale of two worlds, the AI-driven world and the AI-rejecting world. So if you take a look at shares of Palantir, they're
Karp with a hell of a statement yesterday. And look, sometimes this is why you've got to not listen to the analyst. You've got to actually listen to the CEO. You've got to find alternative sources of information when it comes to analyzing generational companies or companies that you think could be generational. And it is becoming pretty evident, whatever happens to the stock today, that Palantir is a generational company and they are executing at a generational level. Ladies and gentlemen, Tuesday, November 5th, Palantir is now growing 30% year over year. The stock market is now open. Wake your ass up. Here we go. 14% on the day, $47.55. A little bit of a red candle right there. But it's holding 47. Maybe it's a little too early to say that. It's holding 47. Volume is 16 million shares already. 47.35. I wouldn't be surprised if we gap down all the way back to 45 and try to make our way back up to 47. Remember, we were at $41 yesterday. So given we were at $41, it makes sense that it would take a little bit of a breather. I'm going to look at the resistance to 48 and kind of see how many shares are up for sale. 48 has nothing. It's like a couple thousand shares. So I'm assuming walls will pop up eventually with 16 million shares. A lot of orders. If you wanted to sell already, you've sold. If you wanted to sell right now in the morning, you've probably sold. If you wanted to buy, you probably put in an order to buy. And so now the market is going to kind of duke it out and see what it looks like. Market cap is $106 billion at $47.57. There's a green candle starting up right there. Could we make our way to 50? I think it's possible. We just got to see if the market wants to be able to take it there, and if the momentum on buying is there. One thing I will say as well on Palantir, and I said this last night, and I think it's an important point. Imagine if you were a fund manager in 2024 and you didn't have NVIDIA part of your portfolio. How do you justify to your clients that you are charging a percentage of their assets under management in terms of fees by not having the best performing stock in the index in your portfolio? I think the same story over the next 5 years will happen with Palantir. I mean, there's going to be a year where every fund manager, including this year, is like, hey, why don't we have Palantir? Especially if we're going long AI, especially if we're long software applications of AI, if we want to get something that's cheaper than an NVIDIA, theoretically, just from a market cap perspective. And so you might have a lot of fund managers coming in that already came in at 35 that are not selling. Retail bought in at $8, $9, they're not selling. So the question is, who's selling? And a lot of fund managers, if they're buying to justify keeping their jobs over the next 5 years, just off the sheer fact that what if Palantir does go to $1 trillion and you missed it when it was right there in front of you, that could be another tailwind for the stock, which is why it might be holding this $47 level as we're up about 14% on the day. All right, we'll go back to Palantir. The Qs are up 0.5%. TSM is up about 2%. Enphase is down 2%. Looking like that Trump trade is affecting Enphase right now. Market was buying up Enphase yesterday on the idea that maybe Harris is winning and that's good for solar. Now they're selling off Enphase. DJT is up 10%. Looks like the market is kind of thinking maybe Trump wins. By the way, Jim Cramer did endorse Kamala Harris yesterday and said he thinks she'll win. So do with that what you need to do. Bitcoin, 69,700. Nice little green candle on Bitcoin, up about 2%. SoFi, 1110, 1.74%. Where is Robinhood? Robinhood, $24.72, up 1.81% on the day. Robinhood, nice Momentum holding above that $24 level yesterday as we closed above 24 as well. Amazon 196, Google 170, MicroStrategy up 7% as Bitcoin is up 2% at $238. Rocket Lab up 2.84%, 1157. Oklo 2121. IWM is flat on the day. Dow Jones is up a little bit at 0.15%. ExxonMobil and Chevron are up slightly as oil prices are up a little bit. Palantir 47.65, again holding that mid 47 level. It would be really nice to get into that 48 level and close above 48 today, maybe making the path to 50 much more possible later this week. PayPal 78.91, Squares at 72.85, Starbucks at 97, Hershey's at 178. They have earnings coming up later this week. The Mag 7 all are green, including Nvidia up 1.59%, and Tesla up 2.5% as well on the day. You got Tesla right here up about 2.4%, and Palantir is at 40, just touched $48, then got sold off. So it was a little bit of a wall at 48. Palantir stock now year to date is up 189%. Nvidia stock year to date is up 186%. If I told you in the beginning of the year that Palantir was going to outperform Nvidia, I don't know how many of you would have believed me. I don't know if I would have believed myself, but Palantir currently is outperforming the godfather of AI, Jensen Huang. And it seems like people are ready to go long on Karp and the company. Pretty damn exciting. I don't think this is retail, guys. I'm going to say it again. I've said this on that initial pump into the 35-36, and I'm going to hold strong on that 48-30 right now. I don't think retail has enough money to move this thing at these levels. Is retail participating right here? Is retail buying? 100%. Is retail buying up 16% on the day? Dude, I don't believe that. I don't believe retail's moving this stock up $15 billion in a day. I think there are special funds that are getting excited about going long AI that don't care about the valuation, because if you cared about the valuation, you would have missed NVIDIA at $15. I'm not saying Palantir is the next NVIDIA, although Palantir is definitely outperforming NVIDIA right now. But it's just one of those things where, like, whether it's wrong or right, whether it's irresponsible or responsible, you probably have people thinking they need to have a portion of their portfolio allocated to Palantir if they truly are the winners of AI and software. And I think that's the momentum that we're seeing right now for Palantir. Magusto, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thanks for yesterday's coverage. Have a coffee on me. I will buy some more Palantir with that $10, Magusto. So thank you for the super chat. Really, really appreciated. Volume right now is 30 million on Palantir, $108 billion market cap. Robinhood right here, 24.77. Where's Hims? Hims is down 3%. Hims had a good quarter, by the way. Hims had a really good quarter. They're growing like 77% year over year. Incredible quarter. Not sure why they're down 3%, but they are indeed down 3% right here. They were up 7% after hours yesterday. But overall, pretty damn good quarter for Hims. So, I mean, look, if you're long Hims, I think that quarter just makes it more exciting to continue being long Hims. But they are down about 2% right now as the market opens. Palantir 48.10. All right, the wall at 49. The wall at 49 is 22,000 shares. Again, that's not a lot. That's not a lot of shares if we make our way up to 49. We got to make our way up there, which is going to be a little hard, but if we get there, it is possible. It is possible. This is kind of crazy, dude. $48. Dude, remember at $30? Remember when it was fucking $29.99 and we were waiting for 2 hours for that 1 cent to get to 30? How hard that was. And now it's at almost $50, bro. It's like, it's unbelievable, dude. And again, the results they put up. Yeah, I will have a full video today going deeper into the results. Actually, it'll probably be out tomorrow because today is the election. We didn't even talk about the election. Palantir literally stole the election out of the headlines, which is another reason I'm so happy they had a good earnings. Like, we didn't have to talk about anything about the election. I mean, we'll probably talk about it later, but it was nice to just like forget about the election and focus on a company that's like absolutely just crushing it on every level. But yeah, I'll have a detailed video out tomorrow going in depth about the actual numbers. But the numbers were incredible. I talked to Arnie last night and I was like, dude, did you see any red flags? And he was like, no, not really. I mean, the only red flag you could say is customer count deaccelerated quarter over quarter. But I don't think that matters that much because if top line revenue grew 30%, that means they're getting more out of their existing customers. And it could have just been a seasonality thing in Q3 for why they got 27 customers versus like the expected 40 customers that I thought they would get. That's not a red flag though, right? That's a, for a lack of a better word, idiosyncratic concern that I'm nitpicking on. Everything else was pretty damn amazing. Amit, will you be streaming tonight for the election? Yes, 7 p.m. I'll be live streaming the election. And we will try to see if we have a president that is announced tonight. Probably not tonight. Might take a couple days, but hopefully we get a winner tonight and we can move forward. 48.50, 48.50 up 17% on the day. Goodness gracious. I think $50 is going to look more beautiful than the Mona Lisa. Because seeing Palantir accelerate top-line revenue growth at 30% yesterday on the headline, on their press release, that already was more beautiful than the Mona Lisa. I think a $50 handle on Palantir is going to look more beautiful than the Mona Lisa. Now, granted, when it was $20, I made a post saying it looks more beautiful than the Mona Lisa, but somehow it keeps getting more beautiful. SoFi 1120 up 2.6% right now. SoFi getting a little bit of momentum right here. SoFi, I think, was down yesterday like 1%. So nice to see a reversal right here at 1120. I still am holding all of my SoFi options. Those options are up 140%. So up 4,900 on those options. I'm not going to take out my initial. I think 2025 is going to be pretty bullish for financials. And I think that, you know, I think that whether Trump or Harris, financials should do well. So I think I will take out my initial eventually, but if it gets closer to like 14, 15, that's when I think it's time to take it out. I just don't see us going back to $7 or $8, hopefully. So if I should be in a good position. Palantir 48.65. All right. So now I think Palantir's trying to run to 49. It's trying right here at 48.70. And I know it's crazy to say that it's making a run for 49, but it looks like it's trying. And it looks like you got people coming in right now and they are happy to get into the story at $49. Doug says Bitcoin looks like it wants to breach 70K again. That would be nice. I'm also, you know, it would be funny if Harris wins and nothing happens to Bitcoin, you know, and it doesn't need Trump to win. It would also be funny if Trump wins and Bitcoin like is flat and it doesn't, like, it's just, I don't know. Or Bitcoin maybe is pricing in a Trump victory right now, which is why it's up 2%. Like, I think tonight's going to determine a lot for the markets, but maybe in a week or two, like the markets just calm down and they don't care who's the president and we move forward. We'll see. I mean, I think that would be healthy for us to not be that worried about the president in the stock market. But it also depends on House and Congress and if the Democrats or Republicans sweep, all that stuff. So we're going to have to find out tonight or in the next couple of days kind of how that plays out. But DJT being up right now kind of feels like the market thinks Trump is going to win. At least that's what I'm taking away from that. Qs are at 489. Where's the S&P? S&P is at 572, up about 0.5%. Holding 570 is a very important technical level for the S&P. We have a rate cut coming up. That rate cut's probably already priced in at 25 basis points of a cut, but that's still a very important rate cut. Wow, Palantir 48.80. All right, so now it's actually really trying to get into the 49s. Tesla's up 40%. Tesla's up 40. It is up 40% from the lows, more than that. But Tesla up 4%. That's nice to see as well. 251 on Tesla. By the way, Rogan and Elon had a big interview yesterday, and they talked about a bunch of stuff as well. So you did have Elon go on Rogan. 48.85. Again, the resistance at 49 on Palantir is 37,000 shares, which is not a lot given Palantir's 40 million shares of volume. So, oh, look at that. Wow. Okay, right here. I didn't even notice we're at 48.49. All right, so now we literally just have to, someone's got to buy up 37,000 shares and we're into the 49s. 37,000 shares. We're 1 cent away from it. I mean, 37 shares is not crazy. It is a wall, but I think it's a wall that can be eaten up if the volume comes in. Literally just teeter. Oh, there you go. There you go. Someone bought those 37,000 shares. All right, now we are in to the 49s. We are in to the 40 freaking 9s, bro. I mean, is there a world in which we see 50 today? Is there a world? We've been greedy all year, but again, quoting Gordon Gekko, sometimes greed is good. And we've been pretty damn greedy all year on this stock, expecting that it would just go up and up and up. And look, it's been doing it. It's been doing it. 49.20. Again, for those that don't understand how this is happening, I think the street is betting on a growth story in software applications of AI that they believe will justify the valuation over the long term. And they're getting in before this thing runs away from them, because for quite frankly, for a lot of the street, it has run away from them already. And that doesn't mean it's cheap, but that does mean that you're going to have people willing to pay. I mean, it's just that simple, right? Like if you have the best cupcakes in town and people just love your cupcakes, they might pay a premium for those cupcakes, and you have pricing power on charging what you want. With Palantir stock, they don't have pricing power because the market determines it. But if the market feels that Palantir has a monopoly and that monopoly is not slowing down, and now it's reaccelerated, and that reacceleration is not going to slow down. Palantir is not going to go down from 30% growth, because if they do, the stock's going to get hit, and they know that. So I think that number just stays at 30% or goes higher. And if you know that growth is going higher, and if anything, that growth can go to 40, 50%, I think there's a lot of people that want to be in that name, and not just retail investors. There's a lot of big guys that want to eat some of those cupcakes. And I think that's why you got Palantir here at $49. Iman, thank you for the $5 super chat. Even though DJT is down, but if Trump wins, what do you think about the stock reaction right away? I think DJT will go up. I think the market will go up, and I think Tesla will go up if Trump wins. Now, granted, that's just like my basic assumption of correlating Trump with the market. You could also see the market say, well, this means tariffs, this means inflation, therefore we should sell off stocks. I don't know how the market's going to react. I also don't know how the market's going to react if Harris wins, because if she can't get corporate income tax rates passed because she doesn't have the House and the Congress, or the Senate and the House, then maybe the market doesn't care, right? Maybe things actually go up, because there's no tariffs, there's no further trade war with China. I have no idea how the market will actually react, but I think we all have some theories on what the market might do if either wins, and we'll have to figure out. I mean, some people were saying, what if Trump wins and JD Vance is the VP? JD Vance is Peter Thiel's boy. They're pretty freaking good friends. Peter Thiel funded his entire Senate campaign. Peter Thiel gave him a ton of money to manage in his VC fund. I mean, that's something that we cannot ignore as investors. You cannot ignore that relationship. So I don't know. I really don't know what happens to the market based on if Trump or Harris wins. But we will see over the next couple of days kind of how the market ultimately interprets this. Up 19% is crazy. 100% up 19% right now is crazy. 49.40 on Palantir. It's really fighting for that 49.50 level. And if we get above that, I think we have a stronger chance at seeing 50. The Qs are at 489. HIMS is now recovering. It was down 3%. Now it's basically flat. Tesla up 4%. S&P up 0.5%. Bitcoin 69.9. Bitcoin trying to get right back to 70,000. Look at SoFi run. Look at that. SoFi 11.28 up 3.35%. Meta's at 569. Google is now giving back all of its gains. Google has given back all of its gains on earnings. All of it. Gone. Went from 183 right back to 169. So market, I guess, not buying into the Google story, I guess. Grindr, by the way, Grindr was almost at $14 yesterday. I'm just saying. Grindr right here at 13.58. SMCI at 26. SMCI is flat. JetBlue's up a little bit. Series up about 1.3%. Robin at 24.82. You got Robin at 24.82. Look at Palantir, 49.74. Oh my God. Is it about to happen? Oh my God. I don't know if I'm prepared. I don't know if I'm prepared for this, guys. I don't know if where's my cowbell? Okay, here's my cowbell. I don't know if I'm ready for this. It's like you're about to get married and you're getting cold feet and you're like, you really want, this is oh boy, $50 has 93,000 shares. 93,000 shares at 50. Oh my God. I just had my heart actually skip a beat, dude. This is if I don't know if we're ready for this moment, bro. This is oh my gosh, dude. I don't think I'm gonna be this nervous on my wedding day. I feel like this is more nerve-wracking than my wedding day. I feel like when I say my vows or whatever, see, I can't even say vows. How do you say it? Whatever those things are called. I gotta include Palantir in my vows, bro. I gotta be I will always treat you as the Lord of my rings because I put a ring on your finger. That's bars. Came up with that off the dome on the spot. That's bars, baby. Carp's got to be at the wedding. He's got to be laughing in the front seat when I make that bar. But Palantir 49.60. Let's see, folks. Let's see. Maybe there's a shot. We got to break 49.75 and see if we can get to 50. Amit takes his cowbell on planes because he's an anxious flyer. Dude, by the way, guys, I got jury duty. I got freaking jury duty. And it's during the Army-Navy game for Palantir. And I got the notice yesterday, and I got to figure out if I have to go to jury duty or not. But that Army-Navy game is later in December. And, the other thing about jury duty is I would have to miss the show for a week because they said I have to be there for 1 week. I have to be there from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. So I don't know what excuse I got to come up with, But I gotta tell these guys, like, this is like, guys, I can't do this, bro. Like, I can't miss the show for a week. Like, this is not possible. I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna have to say something. And hopefully I can get out of it, but we'll see. The problem is I got out of it in February, dude. In February, I was like, yeah, I'm like, I got something to do. And then the lady at the counter at the jury office, she was like, you're gonna get assigned in December, just knowing that. And I was like, all right, we'll see. And then we get the letter yesterday. I'm like, fuck, they actually were right. I'm gonna get assigned on this. So we'll see what happens. All right, 49.80 at 49.90. We got about 5,000 shares. We got a breakthrough. So let's see if that can happen. Let's see if we can get there. Is Bitcoin back to 70? Bitcoin, there you go. Bitcoin's back to 70. Look at that. Bitcoin at 70K. That's amazing. Robinhood 24.93, not bad on Robinhood, up 2.55% on the day. Seems like the bottom here was around that 23.05 level on Friday. So Robinhood right here, 24.92. Palantir 49.87. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. John says I'm going to the Army Navy game. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna try to be there. I'm really gonna try to be there. Eliano invited me. It's gonna be super fun. A bunch of other Palantir people are gonna be there. I just gotta see if I can get there, but I will be really, really happy to be there. I feel like I have a good excuse, dude. I feel like this is like a big event. I feel like it's like I'm self-employed. I don't have traditional income. I feel like I can make an argument like, hey guys, like I really I can't miss this event. So maybe there's a world in which I get them to believe it. Zermatt, thank you for the $50 super chat. I really appreciate it. Let's get it, baby. Thank you so much, Zermatt, for the $50 super chat. Bobby, thank you for the $10 super chat. Mike, thank you for the $20 super chat. You're awesome, Amit. I appreciate you, Bobby. Again, thank you for another $10 super chat. Again, you guys with the super chats, it means the world to me. You don't have to send this stuff, but thank you so much for supporting the channel and being here. And Susan Cook, thank you for becoming a channel member as well. Thank you all for the super chats, and thank you all for being here. Okay, 49.68. Folks, I think we're going to be staring at this sucker for a while because, look, this is what happened when we got to 30. This is what happened when we broke 40. There's always like a push and pull with the market, and it teeters around these 20 to 30 cents. But with Palantir, historically, when it gets very close to a new dollar amount, after teetering for a good 30 to 45 minutes, it breaks through. And then it comes back down and then it breaks through again. Like that's just the data says that's what has happened over the past 6 months. And so maybe if that holds up, we see that happen again at that $50 range. Bsoft, thanks for the $5 super chat. You can say you're not compensated by your employer for days off during jury duty, and I think that will get you out. So I told that to the lady last time, and I said, hey, I need I won't get paid. And she said, oh, everyone has an excuse about work, so that doesn't count. But maybe I just caught her in a bad mood, dude. Maybe I need to talk to someone who believes me. Imagine I was interviewing Alex Karp or something on December 9th when they asked me to do jury duty. I don't care what, you could arrest me, bro. I'm not showing up for jury duty. I'm not missing that interview. There's no way in hell. So I need to have the attitude of just hey guys, I really cannot miss this event. And my life depends on it type of thing. I've got to figure that out because imagine I was interviewing Elon Musk. You think I'm gonna go to jury duty? There's no way, bro. So there has to be some bright line of them understanding because I'm self-employed, because I'm not being compensated, yada yada, that I got to try to get out of it. Have you ever watched the Curb Your Enthusiasm jury duty episode? No, but I heard that episode. That's an iconic episode, right? It's a good one. Jury duty, for those that are not in the United States, jury duty is when we have public trials for people that have been people that are being prosecuted against for a crime, and you have to be one of 12 jurors that votes on them being innocent or guilty. And it's kind of the democratic process of determining if people go to jail or if people pay fines, etc. in the United States. So you have to fill out an application. You have to it's a civic duty that everyone has to deal with in the United States. It's just, this is not the time, bro. This is it's a really inconvenient time. We got Robinhood above 25. Back above 25 on the hood. Incredible. Again, those earnings were pretty freaking good. There was just a mismatch in terms of how expectations were with the street. So Robinhood right here up 2.84%. It looks like 23.50. At least that's when I bought the bulk of my shares on the dip. I bought about 500 shares there. Hopefully that was the bottom. We'll see what happens post the election. But $25, $22 billion market cap with $5 billion in cash, $17 billion enterprise value, growing 36% year over year. I still feel incredibly cheap. At $23, it was even cheaper. So nice to see Robinhood above that $25 range. Palantir right here fighting again at $49. $49.60 now is Palantir. Christian says, tell them you will be unbiased by discriminating against the case. They won't have you. So people have said that. Can you literally just tell the judge, like, hey, I'm racist? Like, does that work? I'll be like, yo, I hate Indians. Like, I'll just say that shit. I'm Indian. I can say it, right? I'll be like, I just hate it. If you have an Indian on trial, I hate them. Like, I just hate them. Like, obviously I don't believe that, but like, if I can say that and get out of it, like, I think I need to say something, bro. It really, you can say that. You can say you're racist and get out of it. Really? I thought that's like you could be held for a contempt in court if you like say something like that or something. It doesn't work anymore in California. Goodness gracious. You need to act it out in your answers. Dude, I'm just going to go to them and I'm going to plead my case that I really have an event I can't miss. And if they say no, I'm going to call up someone else. There's got to be other people I can talk to, dude, because I got to get out of this. There's no way. It's just very, very inconvenient. And I think because I'm self-employed, I have an argument. If I had a traditional job that is like, I think most corporations are legally, they have to pay for you when you miss work for jury duty. I don't work for anybody. I work for myself. So like there has to be an argument there around like my livelihood that I should be dismissed. We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated on that. So we'll see if that happens. Wear a MAGA hat to the jury duty to get out of it. Goodness gracious, bro. Hey, Amit, where do you check how many shares they have to reach 50? So if you go to the order book volume on either Robinhood Gold or Webull or any of these other platforms, it shows you. And what I'm looking at right here is at $50. We have 76,000 shares now. 76,000 shares right there in that $50 range. So 76,600. That's what we're looking at. And if we can get above that, then we should be able to hopefully break through 50. I don't trust Palantir going down right here at 49.47 when it was just at 49.80, because this is what it does every time. It takes this like U-turn back and forth within these 30 to 50 cent ranges. And then eventually, if the momentum's there, at $30 it broke through, at $40 it broke through, at $50 we'll see if it holds up again. But I think we got to give it some time, and if there's a chance, then it might end up breaking through. So we'll see. We'll see. ACDC, thank you for the $25 super chat. Holding and DCAing since 2021, $92,000 up, sold 25 shares that were wash eyesores. Thank you. $92,000 is incredible, dude. I mean, like, Palantir has just created life-changing money for a lot of people. Karp did talk about this yesterday when he was thanking retail investors, and he just said that he's really happy that retail investors are winning. It's not easy to build a company. Retail investors were absolutely not winning in 2022. Outside of the fact that we got to gobble up shares really cheap. And so there's going to be periods where we win, periods where we lose. And 2024 is one of those periods where we win. And although it's paper money for a lot of us, it's still real money that, if you believe in a long-term thesis, should be there 10 years from now. So incredible stuff. And congrats to you, ACDC, up $92,000 on Palantir. Hey, bro, be careful what you're saying. The government's probably listening. Dude, let the government listen. I got a big event coming up. If the government's listening, I can't make jury duty, folks. Like, I got a big event. Please. But look, I'm not going to lie to them. I'm going to tell them what I've got going on. I'm going to say, hey, like, this is a very big event in my life. And then it's up to them to figure it out. And if they can't get me out of it, then I can't get out of it. But I'm not lying with what I'm saying. I'm not saying I have like a medical condition or anything. I'm saying, look, this is a very important event. I do YouTube. If I take off from my show every day, I don't get paid. I can't, my career can't go further. YouTube's not compensating me for, like, I don't know if they're going to buy it, but I'm going to try my hardest to get them to buy it, and we'll see. But I will be telling them the truth, and hopefully they end up looking through it. You're not special, man. I know I'm not special, but maybe I can communicate in a way that makes me seem special. We'll see what happens. Why do you keep stressing no jury duty on the weekends? This is not jury duty on the weekends. This is jury duty for a full week. This starts from December 9th to December 13th. That's Monday through Friday. This is so that's why. What you're saying is the Army Navy games on Friday. Yeah, but I have to leave on Thursday. I have to take a train on Thursday to DC. That's the reason I'm stressing about it. I have to get there on Thursday and then I have to be there Friday, yada yada. So that's why Thursday and Friday I have to get there before the game. That's why it's big. It's a bigger of an issue. But also, I don't want to miss the show for a week, bro. Like, I don't want to miss the show for a week. Robin right here, 24.95, Palantir 49.37, because I would be out for a week from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'd be in trial. And if it's a stupid trial, dude, if it's like some guy got caught having weed and they want to send him to jail and be like, dude, really? You guys took me, like, you want to send someone to jail for having some weed? Like that's the reason I'm missing like my show. Like it's just, I don't know, bro. We got to figure out. We got to figure it out. ASD, thank you for the 200 super chat. Thank you so much, Amit, for your contagious passion for Palantir. Started investing in Palantir because of you. Concerning jury duty, tell them that if the defendant owns Palantir stock, he will not. Yo, that's hilarious. Maybe I got to do that. Maybe I got to say that. I don't think MJ prosecutes for possession of weed. I think it's a certain amount. If you have like a certain amount of ounces, they'll prosecute. But yeah, if you have like a little bit, it's not that bad. But the point is, like, if I have to miss it for like a random try, like someone got a parking ticket or something, or like, it's just, come on, bro. We can't. I don't know. I am being arrogant here because I'm trying to say I am above the law when it comes to my civic duty, right? And it's everyone's civic duty. I'm just trying to figure out what's the most reasonable argument to get whoever I have to talk to believe that they should give me the benefit of the doubt here. And maybe one of those arguments is that I'm self-employed and they have a little bit of sympathy. It's really up to them. A lot of times if they have sympathy, they have a lot of control. They can just push it to a later date, which is what they did in February for me. But I got to just find a way to get them to buy into that. We'll see. We'll see how good my my communication skills are in getting them to believe it. Paul, thank you for the $99 super chat. Paul, you don't have to do that. You guys don't have to send this much money. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. $100 is a lot of freaking money, and I do not take that for granted at all. So thank you, Paul, for the $99.99 super chat. Really appreciate it, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, and thank everyone for being here as part of the community. Palantir 49.77. So we went back down to 49.20, right back to 49.77. Is there anything else happening in the market that is interesting? Lucid's flat. Microsoft is up. By the way, Microsoft's only up 9% year to date, or 10%. Microsoft has not really performed. That's probably why that Brent Thill guy is mad, because he has a buy on Microsoft and a sell on Palantir. And Palantir is up 150% or 180%. And Microsoft's like, barely up 10% this year. So that's probably another reason why he's not the happiest with some of his software plays. Arc Innovation up about 1%. Kathy did sell about 200,000 shares of Palantir and Tesla yesterday. Celsius at 31.22. Celsius up a little bit. IWM at 221. Google at 171. MicroStrategy at 240. That's up 7%. Is Bitcoin still at 70,000? Bitcoin is at 69,970. Palantir 29.74. Robin at $25. S&P at 573. S&P is up almost 1% of the day. That's great. And then Tesla right here at 251. That's up about 3% right now, which is not too bad. OpenAI is not providing value to Microsoft shareholders. I think the problem with Microsoft is the valuation is at like 34 times PE, and they're growing, but it's not like Amazon or Meta type of growth. And that's why the street's kind of just like, why would we super go long Microsoft? I think long-term Microsoft is fine, but there's a lot of other opportunities in software that are growing, and that might be one of the reasons why it's getting some momentum. Is NVIDIA almost 140? Where's NVIDIA? NVIDIA is 139, up about 2.4%. Okay, folks, we have a special guest that is joining the show now. So we have Palantir at 49.60. I'll keep an eye on Palantir, and if we are making a run to $50, then we will pull up the chart, and we might get to celebrate it with a special guest who is going to be joining me in just a minute. But it's someone that you guys know, someone who has done an incredible job bringing this community together and giving us the merchandise to actually represent the brand in a very special way all across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Palantir is Mr. Eliano. What's up?
Hello, Amit. How are you?
I'm doing very good. How are you, sir?
Good, man. Just another morning. Nothing's really changed, just another morning at Palantir.
Is there a little bit of a vibe or energy given the results yesterday?
I mean, it's just another day at work. It's like I think the general vibe of the company is we're just getting started. And truthfully, man, it's really interesting to think about just sort of the momentum and the vibes of the community and everything. But, you reflect back to, I was talking about this yesterday with someone, you reflect back to, 2 years ago when the stock was in the single digits and everyone was writing us off. I think it starts with Dr. Karp and with Sham and leadership. There was an unwavering belief that the story was going to play out the way that Dr. Karp and other leadership said it was going to play out. And so it's really gratifying. But at the same time, I don't think anyone in this building is like, oh, our goal is to be $100 billion company. I think you all talk numbers. I know people throw numbers out, $1 trillion market cap. Like that's the dream. And so that's the goal. And so until we get there, and even when we get there, there'll be a bigger goal. And so, it's just another day at work. And I think people here are wired always to be the best of the best of what they do. And so we want to be the best software company in the world. And for me, like, I want to do everything that I can to be the best at what I can control. And so, yes, it feels good to be, it's good to see the results and the market react positively. But all in all, I think it's still the same mindset as it was 2-3 months ago or 2 years ago.
Okay, so now that we got the politically correct answer out of the way, how fucking good do you feel that these motherfuckers that were saying Palantir's a shitty company, they can't do anything, they can't scale, they're a consulting firm, like, at some level, I'm being facetious here, but it has to feel good that you guys are actually proving the world wrong. The stock is the stock. It can go up or down, but you guys are executing, and I think that has to feel pretty amazing.
Yeah. I was thinking about it this morning, actually. In between sets at the gym, you sort of think about things.
Was that your way of saying that you work out? Just
well, you already know, can't you tell? But I was thinking about it this morning. I was wondering, like, how much better does this feel given all the haters, or as Dr. Karp calls the player haters? If it wasn't for, the bear caves, and I'm not going to give attention to some of these other degenerates on social media. Here's the thing: if you have a thesis and you can articulate it and you can back it up with facts, I have a lot of respect for you. I will never ever say, I don't think that everyone needs to sit there and say Palantir is the best company in the world, or hey, this company is maybe overvalued. People can have their opinion, but if you're going to have an opinion, then know what you're talking about. And I think what I've seen lately is that there's a lot of these people that consider themselves experts that are trashing Palantir for really, without really understanding the business and the potential, and then calling the company a shit company, calling Palantir investors stupid. For those people, it feels really good just to see them eat their words. It feels really, really good. But at the end of the day, like, we're not here to focus on the haters. We're here to win. It just makes it a little bit sweeter.
It does indeed make it a little bit sweeter. We're right here at Palantir 49.97. We'll see if it gets over to that $50 range.
Oh, wow. Would this be the first time?
It would be really nice if it hits 50 while you're with me live, because usually I'm alone here. It would be super cool.
It's going to hit 50. I can just feel it.
We have 89,000 shares, folks, waiting at that $50 level. So we'll see if
now I feel like Chad's going to be making fun of both of us. Like, we're sitting there saying it's going up, it's going down. Like now I'm part of it.
There's no way Chad is not staring at this. Oh my God, it's 1 cent. Oh my God, did we get it? Hold on. There's no way Chad is not staring at this right now. There's no fucking way.
Chad is going to meme the ish out of this. He's going to use this against me for a while.
It hit 49.98 at the top on mine, folks. Maybe for some of your brokerages it hit 50, but for me it did not.
I saw 99 on your screen.
It hit 50 on Thinkorswim. All right, it's going to hit 50 eventually then on Robinhood and Webull. Eventually. We'll see.
All right, let's not think about it. Let's not think about it. It'll happen when we're not thinking about it.
Okay, so merch store. We got new merch launching tomorrow. What is this merch, and why is this merch a little bit more special than previous merch drops?
Yeah, so this is actually a drop that we've been working on for quite a while, for a couple months. It actually, I've been envisioning this since we started the merch store when we brought it back. So there's 4 items. The first 2, which you're showing on the screen, are the Digicamo hats. And so when, if you recall the old store, we had Digicamo, and those were hats that were made in China. They had the old Digicamo print, and those were really popular. And so when I brought the merch store back, a lot of people would say, hey, when are the Digicamo hats coming back? And so, I spent a lot of time researching and working with the vendor to find, a source of these hats that we can get made in America. And so not only is it made in America, but it's made with ripstop, which is like the old uniform material. Now these, I understand that the Army and the Navy don't use these camos anymore, but it's more for the style, and it's more to represent, and it still looks really cool. So basically, it's made in the USA. It's snapback. We're going to sell them for a little bit more expensive than we usually sell our hats. We're selling them for $49, and the reason why we're doing that is because we want to donate the proceeds to the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, which is a really awesome charity that supports families of fallen special operations warriors.
That's another reason I'm really excited about this launch.
Yeah. So we have 250 digicamo for the Army, 250 digicamo in the Navy. There's no limit on how many you can buy. Now, in order to spice this up a little bit, the people that buy a hat and then tweet me their order number and a screenshot of the order. They have to reply to the tweet that I'll put out tomorrow morning. They will be entered in to win a signed Dr. Karp comic book. And of course, I didn't bring it with me because I was too busy holding my breakfast. But the signed Palantir comic books, I have 18 of them that Dr. Karp has given me to give to the community. So you just need to buy a hat. So really, if you think about it, there's 500 hats, there's 18 comic books. So it's like what is it, like 3%? I don't know what the numbers are. But if you buy one of each, and then you tweet that increases your chances as well. And so, it's going to be great. So I'm really, really proud of this, the DigiCamo hats. And I'm really proud of the fact that we're going to be donating it to charity. And it sort of commemorates our sponsorship of the Army-Navy game on December 14th. Where, it's really the most patriotic sporting event that I've ever been a part of. I went 2 years ago in Philly. And so this year it's at Northwest Stadium, which is home of the Commanders, my favorite football team. So it's going to be a special experience, and we look forward to celebrating it with the Palantir community.
And having said that, Eliano, Palantir stock has officially crossed $50. Wow.
If only you had the music, we could play Pop Smoke.
If only we had the music. Dude, this is it didn't just hit 50, it blasted through 50. So I guess raw reaction, what does this mean to you, kind of looking at that, other than your juicy SARS?
I'm it's great. It's just, but like I said, like I don't close my nights and dream of Palantir at 50. I dream of a world powered by Palantir software, the biggest companies in the world powered by Palantir software, and our partners in whatever vertical that they're in, that they're dominating and that they're winning, and that they're really proud of the fact that they work with Palantir, whether they're in the government context or the commercial context. So look, man, like I'm not trying to be lame and I'm not trying to be politically correct, but this is great. But I truly believe that this is a company that I want to spend the rest of my life working for. And I just feel like we're getting started. So it's great. Congratulations to our shareholders, but we're just getting started. We're not going to settle.
Yeah, well, look, that's the reason that I think it's ironic that we're hitting $50 on a moment where you're telling me that you're launching merch to donate the proceeds to a fund that cares about families of fallen soldiers. Like that is one of the most Palantir things ever. And the fact that you guys are doing that in the Army-Navy game, and they actually give a fuck about the world, which is what Karp said on their earnings call yesterday. Market's rewarding it right now with $50, which is really, really special.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And so, and by the way, we're also giving $50,000 no matter what to Special Operations Warrior Foundation as part of our cause marketing for the Army-Navy game. So, and there's the comic books. I have 18 of them at my, actually, I have 18 of them at my desk. And then I have an extra one that I'm going to give out to the person who won the Halloween pumpkin carving contest, which we will announce either today or tomorrow. And they're really, really special, books. And so,
so just to summarize, the new merch drop, people can buy as many hats as possible, and they get entered into a lottery. Essentially, they have to buy the hats, and then they have to tweet at me, because I don't have access to the data from the vendor. There's like a separation there, so I can't ask them for people are like, oh, you have my address. No, I don't have your address. The vendor protects your information. I don't have access to it. So people have to tweet at me. I don't want them to. They can't DM me. They have to tweet at me, and I will put the tweet out tomorrow morning before the drop, and then they can just reply to me with an image, and just follow the instructions, and you'll be entered in.
and then we'll use a random number generator to pick the people. And so we'll have the 2 hats, and then what I'm really excited about, in addition to that, is the Cowardice Kill shirt, which is really the first merch that Palantir ever created internally. And I found out yesterday that Dr. Karp was the one who got the shirts made and gave them out to staff.
And like 15 years ago, right?
I think it was longer. I think it was maybe 15-ish years ago. And if you go, there's a picture of Sham that Sham put up on his Twitter. I actually quote tweeted it yesterday. Keep going.
Oh, by the way, guys, this was Karp's shirt. This was so epic. Karp was preparing like it was game time with the shirt. That's amazing. That was awesome.
Yeah, he was. If you keep right there. So that's the original shirt, and the guy in the red is Aki, who's the president of USG, and he's unbelievable. He's super smart, and he's helped build this business. So seeing him there as a 3, 4-year-old, and then there's Dr. Karp. And
dude, it can get you emotional. You're building a shirt that they used to wear 15 years ago.
Well, I did. I mean, Sham told me to do it. So if Sham tells you to make a shirt, you better be quick, and you better knock it out of the park. So I basically threw the chevron on the front, embroidered it, and so the shirt made in the USA. It's really good quality, and that will be available as well. So here's the kicker: if you buy a hat and you buy a shirt and you tweet at me, not only will you be eligible to win a signed comic book, but you'll also be eligible to come to the Army Navy game as my guest. You'll get a ticket, non-transferable, but I will be inviting one person to come to the game. And I've heard rumors. I've just heard rumors that Amit might be there. This guy named Amit. We'll see. If
I can get out of jury duty, then yes.
Yeah. So if it'll be really awesome. And we'll have a really, really good time. And like I said, it's the most patriotic experience that I've ever been a part of. So we're going to do that as well. And then the third sort of category is the beanie, just a simple black beanie made in the USA, white chevron on the top. That will be available as well. So we got a cool merch drop, and I guess it's really good timing. There's a lot of good excitement. So I'm hoping that we sell out and that we can support the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. And but the store has been doing really, really well. I think the next time I'm on, I'll share some more details about the future of the store and what we're thinking.
Yeah, I'm sure you have big plans in 2025 to take it to a different level.
Much. It's funny. You see all these other companies that are coming out with merch stores, which I knew was going to happen. And my intent is for us to have not just a merch store or not just a good merch store. I want to have the best merch store of any company on the face of the earth. So that's my goal for 2025.
What was really funny, Eliano? I remember some people, this is X.com, by the way, launching their merch store. I remember some people when Palantir was a mere $25 not so long ago that sold all their shares, and they said you are the reason they're selling their shares, because you initiating this whole merch revolution within Palantir is a top to the stock, and it proves that the company is not focused on its mission. The stock is now at $50, and those people have lost out on a decent amount of gains. Any thoughts on what has transpired over the past 5 months?
You're baiting me. I know what you're doing.
You don't have to call people out. I'm just saying in general, there were people that
the hat was the top, as they were saying. Unfortunately, look, there's going to be contrarians all the time in life. Again, especially if you're doing something public, people have their opinions of how things should be. The reality is we have a massive community of people that are not just proud to support Palantir because they're bullish on the stock. They're proud to support Palantir because they associate themselves with the values of the company, the mission of the company, meritocracy, supporting the West, supporting the warfighter. And it's a no-brainer for us not to have merch. And when I set out on this journey of engaging the community, the first thing that I had to do was deliver the community merch that they'd be proud to wear.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to let a couple people with fake, profile pictures and, that with 27 followers, complain about the store and have that sort of change anything. Like the thing is, if I listened to them or cared about what they said, then I don't deserve to work at Palantir. I'll just put it that way.
100%. Yeah. No, it was funny seeing that happen because in my head, as someone who's been part of the community, I'm like, are you crazy? This is a guy who works at Palantir that wants to engage with all of us. He doesn't need to do that. And he's creating this initiative to get us to all come together with like merch, hats and t-shirts and stuff that we're proud to wear. And you've got people that felt that was a reason why the company was underperforming. It was such a misreading of the situation, almost like these analysts that never understood Palantir when it was at $6, $7. And it's funny because they were investors at $6, $7, but couldn't really see the long-term vision. So
look, honestly, I think a lot, just between us, I think a lot of those people that were hating are genuinely, well, I think a lot of them were good people or are good people. I think a big problem is, look, at the end of the day, there's tens of thousands of Palantir community members, hundreds of thousands, right? We have a massive retail flow. And I think a big part of it was it just came down to jealousy. Like, I was engaging people in the community, but it's impossible for me, one person. Now, Peter has joined recently and he's helping with some of the stuff, although he's more focused on other marketing stuff, and he's been doing a really good job. So shout out to Peter. I'm really thrilled. I think one of the best parts about the steak dinner tour and engaging the community was finding Peter. He embodies everything that it means to be a Palantirian. I just love watching him sort of experience Palantir, coming from the outside and then coming inside. It's really special. And so I'm really proud to be his co-lead along with Uncle Chad. But the point I'm trying to make is it is impossible for me to engage everybody and to send hats to everybody. And, we threw a lot of spaghetti at the wall too. We tried some things and, people got jealous. I think they wanted attention. They were like, oh, well, I was in the trenches, I was in the trenches when people were saying Palantir was worth $0. I was there when it was $6. And basically they were upset that I wasn't sending them a hat or giving them attention. But the reality is, if you look at my history, for the people that have been really positive, the people that produce good content, the people that are engaging positively with the community, I've pretty much gotten to every single person over the past 4 months. And, I think it comes down to the Palantir value of assume good intent, give your colleagues the benefit of the doubt. I think even with the community, it's give the other members of the community the benefit of the doubt. Don't be an asshole. Just assume the best, right? If you would have just assumed that I had good intent, then we all would have had a good time. And you wouldn't have people that basically have had to become, basically sell out their Palantir shares and stop talking about the company because they got absolutely torched by your boy. Once the hat wasn't the tops. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, but they forced me to do it. And I wish them the best. And they're welcome to come back at any time.
But it's also ironic because the Palantir is the opposite of being entitled. Palantir works for every dollar. They give as much software they can for free before they think of signing a contract with a customer. These people that felt entitled, they deserve. It's the opposite of Palantir. It's not the Palantir philosophy.
Don't worry about them. So, anyways, let's
do a giveaway. Can we do a giveaway?
Yeah, let's do a giveaway. So basically, of course, in typical fashion, I'm really good at forgetting to bring the item that I'm going to give away. But maybe I can show a picture of it.
Is it on your Twitter? It's the hat, right?
No. This is a really special hat. This will not be released. This will not be for sale. So I'm going to
this is a one of one. This is a one of one.
I'm going to text it to you, and then that way you can put it on your screen.
Okay, perfect. So guys, we're going to do a giveaway. Eliana's going to ask a question about carp, and the first answer he sees in the chat will be the winner.
All right. So the hat, we're going to be giving away this hat. It's a Ranger green. It's basically a Ranger green Palantir hat. It's basically the same material as the Digicamo Army Navy hats. But this one is just straight green. It's fire. It's one of my favorite hats. And also, you can just admit that I look pretty good in that picture.
I was gonna say, does it come with a beard? Does it come with a little extra or just?
I mean,
I don't know. It's good.
Maybe. So basically the question is, and here's how it's going to work. I'm not doing any of this Russian judge drama, Olympic IOC drama. The first answer that I see on my chat, on my box here, is who wins. And so if two people tie for it, then it's whoever I see first. So that's just the way it's going to work because I can only send one hat. So
it's how long is the answer? It's like one word, the answer?
Yeah. So it's one answer. It's one word. And so so here's the question.
Real quick. Believer of the word says, Eliano, your heart is pure in a show. Same with this community. I don't know any of you, but you're the first ones I want to high five. Awesome. Love the believer of the word. Thank you for that.
Okay. So in the Marine Dow New York Times article, she was talking about Dr. Karp and he was shooting. And then Dr. Karp said, I'm more of a blank with a gun. What is the word that he said? He's more of a what?
Ooh, I'm more of a blank with a gun. Let's see.
Yep. Bay Ray got it.
I like Bay Ray. I'm annoyed that he got it because I also hate Bay Ray, but Bay Ray. This is how obsessed he is with Palantir. He actually got it. That's great. That's great.
Bay Ray's a good dude. And so congratulations, Bay Ray.
He's going to be, no, you don't understand. He's going to be bragging about it in my group chat with him for like the next year that he won this fucking giveaway. That's why I hate it right now, but I'm happy for him, but I hate it as well.
You know, honestly, so the thing about Bay Ray, I'm supposed to send him, I still owe him a windbreaker. But really I shouldn't be sending him anything because he was buying fake Chinese bootleg merch. That's the reality. So as far as I'm concerned, Bay Ray is on very thin ice with me. So I better not see any more bootleg merch.
That was quick though, bro. That was quick. When you told me that question, I didn't even know that answer. And I read that article a couple months ago. So I forgot about that. That was quick.
You're too busy watching the lines on the screen.
I'm too busy looking at this beautiful $50.
Yeah. But anyways, I just want to say, really quickly before I have to bounce here, and then let you get back to watching the lines move. But I just I really appreciate the community. I really appreciate everyone buying and buying the gear. We're selling everything at cost, and I'm committed to ensuring that we take this to the next level. And I really appreciate everyone that's believed in the company, and the retail community means so much to us, and we really enjoy winning alongside you all. And I just want to say that, look, nothing in life is linear. No matter what happens in life, whether it's relationships or, if you're having a bad day or if you're having a bad week, even stocks, things move forward, things move back. At the end of the day, we'll just keep focusing on doing things the right way. We'll focus on being a good company with good values and a good mission, and everything else will take care of itself. And so I'm really proud of the work that my colleagues and I are doing here. And I look forward to the next milestone with everyone here. So Amit, you, of course, I really appreciate everything that you do. Dr. Karp called you the quote, what did he call you? The head, the lead, the leader of our retail community. So congratulations to you. It's been great to see you grow a lot. And so I really appreciate your friendship. And I really hope that you are able to come to the Army Navy game, because it's going to be a great opportunity for you to cover the company and the stock. So yeah, appreciate everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to really try to get to that game. I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity. If you guys want to keep updated with the merch, which is coming out tomorrow, make sure you follow Eliano on Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, make a Twitter just to be updated with Palantir. And Eliano is one of the people you got to follow. And that merch will be launching 8 a.m. tomorrow?
No. So thanks for bringing that up. The merch will launch at 12 p.m. Eastern time. 12 p.m. Eastern time, but I will post the instructions. And I want to emphasize that. I will post the instructions around 10, 11, maybe a little bit earlier. But follow the instructions so that you're eligible for the giveaways. Because what I don't want are people DMing me your screenshot. It's not going to count. So you have to make the purchase and then you have to tweet at me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to be
very simple. You'd make the purchase screenshot and then just tweet it. It should be very simple. So.
Yeah, and block out your personal information, but just send me the order number and a screenshot of what you ordered. That way I can go back and verify it, because I do see I can track what each order number bought, but I can't see the address information or the name. So
right.
Just follow the instructions, and I look forward to sending everything out.
All right. Eliano, I think the community is indebted to you forever for what you've done, building this merch store, actually bringing those all together means the world.
No, I'm indebted to the community, and of course, you know this more than anybody. I came from the community.
Well, people don't know this. You were a retail investor that loved Palantir. You got the opportunity of a lifetime. One day you'll tell us a story on how you got your job, and now
I'll tell the story next time. How's that?
Let's tell the story next time. All right,
live here. You'll be the first one to hear it. I'll tell the story. All right, love you, love the community. Good luck, everybody. Keep grinding.
Thank you, brother. Love you. See you next time.
Peace.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, that was Eliano. Where are we at on the stock? 49.88. So we're right here, 50.67 to 49.90. Pretty normal for us to be back below $50. But goodness gracious, did you guys see that breakout? Like, holy crap, bro. It wasn't just busting through 50. It was like smashing $50. And I think we'll be back to 50 today, because when you smash 50 that hard, I mean, like, it means there was a ton of buyers. I mean, Eliano was on for what, 30 minutes? We were above 50 for 30 minutes, basically 20 to 30 minutes. So if there was 20 to 30 minutes worth of demand of buying Palantir at $50.60, are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, I think we'll be back to 50. And I think the momentum is there. This is pretty crazy, dude. This is pretty 1030 pullback. Yeah, we're getting into the 1030 pullback right here. Basically, right on the dot, 1029. Literally right on the dot, 1029. I am so mad you won, Bay Ray. I am so mad, Bay Ray run. Like, dude, I love you, but I'm so mad that you won because now you're just gonna be bragging about fucking winning this thing. But you were, dude, I gotta give it to you. You got that really quickly. You got artist pretty quick. I didn't know the answer to that question, so that was pretty incredible. Like, I thought that was a hard question. Like, me and Eliana in the morning were like, this is a hard question, right? I was like, yeah, this is a pretty hard question. Who's going to remember this one little fact? Bay Ray got it. So congrats to you, even though you're going to brag about winning this forever. Okay, my plug just texted me the note from Bank of America. So let's pull that up. This is on Palantir. Is this Q3? Yes, this is Q3. Did they raise the price? Oh, raise the price target. They raised the price target. They raised the price target for Palantir. The price target is now $55. $55. Carp really said, I feel like Bay Ray with a gun. See, this is why I don't like Bay Ray. This is what I mean by the flexing that he's going to be doing because he won this fucking giveaway. This is why I don't like this guy at all. I'm not happy he won, but he deserved it. Even if I'm not happy that he won. $55 on Palantir, Bank of America. A juggernaut is emerging. Infrastructure that unleashes the power of AI. RBC Capital raises price target to 11. David, is that confirmed? Did they actually raise it to 11? Can you confirm that for me? Hold on. I think someone sent me a Bloomberg screenshot as well. I think I have the RBC target. Hold on. We'll read through the Bank of America thing in a second, guys. But you got Bank of America here at 55. What's his name? Wedbush at 57. RBC. Oh my God, they raised it to 11. Rishi raised us from $9 to 11. Congratulations, folks. Rishi Jaloria raised us from $9 to 11 with a, does he have a sell still or a hold? He has a underperform. So he basically has a sell. We got $2. We got $2 from Rishi. It means so much. All right, here we go. Let's read what Bank of America had to say for Palantir. The power of compounding use cases. We noted previously, Palantir adopting the go-to-market strategy, launching AIP bootcamps could unlock the sell-through scale many bears questioned was possible. In Q3, Palantir saw 54% year-over-year growth in U.S. commercial revenue and customer count up 77% year-over-year. We continue to view the adoption of Palantir's AI-enabled products and reach in its early days as more companies realize the time, resource, and cost savings that are possible. In our view, Palantir's moat as the differentiated agnostic AI enabler is only growing with each new use case carrying compounding unit economics. We reiterate our buy rating and increased our estimates and price target to $55. Again, before we even go into Mariana's understanding of valuation, the fact that she's saying there's better unit economics, which is being proved through Palantir's rule of 68 based on the top line revenue growth and their operating margins, Like, there doesn't need to be a soliloquy to justify the valuation. You could just say TLDR, they're going to grow into it. And that's exactly what that first paragraph is saying, is like, hey, they have very sexy unit economics because of their operating margins, because of this bootcamp methodology. We talked about that for 30 minutes this morning. The top line growth will allow them to grow into that. And this valuation will not look crazy 5 years from now, even if it looks crazy right now. The next war will be decided by the better iterator. In May, the Biden administration put forward a memo for advancing governance, innovation, and risk management for the agency use of AI. In October, a new memo was published. The new memo defined AI as the era-defining technology with significant and growing relevance to national security. Additionally, the memo now puts U.S. AI capabilities as national security priority as a technological edge that the U.S. cannot lose. We see Palantir's USG growth of 40% year over year as a testament, not just to the government putting their dollars where their priorities are, but just how differentiated Palantir's capabilities are compared to their peers. We continue to see upside to Palantir's USG growth given the increasing AI initiatives and evolving government software procurement. By the way, that 40% year over year growth number, that was insane to me yesterday when I saw that. Like when I saw 40% year over year government growth, that was 24% last quarter. That's a real acceleration. Accelerating with friends, embracing co-opetition. As we noted in our previous note, the division between new defense and heritage companies on software culture and entrepreneurialism is as stark and growing. However, there's been a notable shift with Palantir leading the charge. Palantir's network of partners, which were once competitors, is growing. In the quarter, L3Harris and Palantir cemented their strategic partnership. We anticipate more could join the fellowship. Wow. That's a hell of a word right there that she's using. As the value of Palantir's software leads to incremental wins on programs and focus returns to core capabilities, rather spending resources competing in adjacencies. There you go. That's the report. Really focusing on the government side of the business, which makes a lot of sense. I will publish this on Twitter in like 10 minutes so you guys can read through the whole thing because there's a couple other pages to it. But the government side of the business is what Mariana cares about because she's a defense analyst. And I guess Mariana really sees that the government side of the business is growing rapidly. And that's why she's excited. $50.30, right back to 50. Kind of what we thought would happen. Went to 47.70. It already hit 50. Probably was just going to go back to 50. Now we're back at 50 again. Breaking through $30 took some time, but we broke through it. We went below 30, came back. Breaking through 40 took some time. We broke through 40, came back to 39.55, then got back to 40. Seems like the same playbook has been followed with 50, and we might go back below 50 again over the next couple hours. But it seems like we could come back above 50 if that playbook continues to hold. And we might end the day potentially. It's going to be hard to end the day above 50, but if there's a shot, maybe we do close above 50. It's just going to be, a lot of sell side pressure towards the end of the day at that $50 range, especially with the election coming up. So, that's another reason people might just sell and take some of their profits. 49.95 on Palantir, falling just below 50. We hit a top of 50.67, 49.95, and we can see in the coming weeks if we get there back above 50. What are you guys thinking? I mean, I don't even know what to fucking say, dude. Like, I expected 50 today. I'm not going to lie. I expected 50. Just when I saw the momentum last night, I was like, all right, we're going to 50. I did not expect the violence by which it broke through 50. That part I did not expect. But we're here, folks. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of freaking crazy. Does Carp sell today? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, he's been selling a lot already. Here's another thing. This like Palantir is a case study on why insider selling doesn't freaking matter. Like how much time did we spend thinking about how much Carp is selling? And like, it really didn't matter because the company executed. And I think that's the idea that Carp was selling was like, oh, he's like afraid. Like people were saying, oh, well, the Palantir is going to underperform earnings. Therefore he's selling to get out of it quickly. But rather it's just him taking profits because the stock's up a lot and it has nothing to do with their actual performance. Now, if the stock was down 20%, maybe people would feel differently today. However, if it was down 20% on those numbers, I think everyone, including myself, would be buying the freaking dip because those numbers were incredible. So really Carp selling and Teal selling had nothing to do with the stock performance. And, going forward, if Palantir keeps executing, insider selling is just not going to be something that really matters. Now, the election might be something that matters. And we haven't talked about the election at all. I'm kind of happy we haven't talked about the election all day. I'll talk about it a lot tonight when we go live. But I don't know, dude. The market's acting like it doesn't give a fuck. I mean, where's the S&P? The S&P, NVIDIA, by the way, is almost at 140. S&P's at 5.7. Dude, the S&P's up 1%. Either they're pricing in a Trump victory or they don't care about who's going to win, or they think Harris wins and it doesn't matter. Like whatever the market's pricing in right now, it seems like the election is not a concern, and we're not seeing those pre-election jitters that we saw yesterday. We're seeing people buy the dip. Robinhood right here, 24.96, up about 2.63% on the day as well. Palantir right here, 49.98 currently. Word of the day is Juggernaut. Word of the day is Eviscerated, bro. That is the word of the day. Okay, cool. So kind of speechless. Don't know what to say here, but this is pretty damn incredible. Karp and Thiel have done a masterful job of keeping Palantir politically neutral in this environment, regardless of the personal politics. Yeah, I mean, Thiel not coming out and being super Trump like he did in 2016 probably was, the right strategy this time, just from an optics perspective in terms of what it could mean for potential clients. But also, Karp has not been super like Harris, yay. So both of them have kind of stayed out of the public lens, and they've just let the business do the talking, which is what's happening. Where's SoFi? SoFi's at 1150, 1144 right now. SoFi's doing some momentum as well. SoFi options are now up 150%. You got these. If we turn 3,500 into 50,000, folks, somehow it's going to be one of the best trades ever. And I love that we only need to use 3,500, bro. Like, this is the cool thing about asymmetric investing. When you use a little amount and it turns into a really big amount for a company that is fundamentally good. Like, we all know SoFi was good, but the stock was just broken. Now, granted, I'm asking for $20 in 2026. That's a hell of an ask. But I mean, maybe. I mean, it should be a tailwind in 2025. There should be a tailwind for financials. Is HIMS getting some love right now? Where's HIMS? SoFi 1147. HIMS is up 1 point. Yeah, HIMS had a good earnings, dude. From the numbers I saw, I didn't study them deeply, but it was a really good earnings. Like 77% growth is insane. It's a $4.5 billion company, and they increased guidance. So I would imagine HIMS, can get some momentum here. Okay, what did Bank of America say about Palantir? So give me a second, guys. Let's play a video. I'll tweet this out on Twitter so you guys can see it. I already read through it 10 minutes ago, but let me get the screenshots. Let me tweet it out so that if anyone wants to read the whole thing, they can read it. Let's see if they're talking about Palantir on CNBC. Let's see if like Bloomberg is talking about it. Let's see if we can get some other coverage on it right now as well. Let's see. All right. So they're talking about bonds right now on CNBC. That's fair. The bond market's going to be pretty volatile today based on the results. Okay, no updates there. Let's try to see some other news networks. Oh, we had the Brent Thill guy on Yahoo Finance, right? I think he was there today. Let's see if he has something to say as well about Palantir. We get some updated thoughts on what he had to say. We did have a different analyst yesterday, so we can listen to him. But I would want to see what Brent has to say based on his thoughts yesterday. Let's see. We can pull this up. I think he was on today. Okay, we'll listen to this one, and then I'll see if I can get the other guy up, and we'll see what he has to say. All right, here we go. Here's some more coverage on Palantir. This is from yesterday, right after the results.
We've got Morningstar equity analyst Malik Ahmed Khan, who is joining us. Malik, so as you look at these numbers here and what looks to be a beat by a comfortable margin and a forecast that is comfortably ahead of estimates, what do you make of the report here and the growth that we are seeing from Palantir?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was a great quarter by Palantir. I'm just looking at the numbers right now, so I haven't obviously put them in our model. But the Q3 numbers were slightly ahead, and the guidance for Q4 was roughly in line where we had previously modeled, because we were expecting the company to finish out 2024 with strength. As you kind of mentioned in some of your commentary with your conversation with Alex earlier, U.S. commercial and U.S. government continues to drive the business. our view is that, hey, U.S. companies and the government tend to be early adopters of new technologies, and that adoption should proliferate across Europe as these solutions show their value in enterprises and in government functions.
Ahmed, correct me if I'm wrong, you got a 2-star rating on this name. Is that, and that's the, and correct me if I have this wrong, Ahmed, that is the equivalent basically of a sell on this name. And I'm just wondering, Ahmed, this stock heading into this print was up 140%. You're tacking on another 15% in the after hours. Do you regret that rating, Ahmed? And are you worried if you stay here, you're going to miss another big move in 2025?
So the thing is that when we're trying to value Palantir, so you can pull up my, the next 3 years estimates, and you can put them across, the range of sort of estimates by other analysts. And I'm by no means a bearish analyst on the name. I really like the name, and throughout my conversations with investors, that's one thing I keep on trying to delineate between, right? So if you look at the fundamental business quality, Palantir is an incredible name with a lot of opportunity in AI and beyond AI in big data. But when we look at the valuation, it just seems like the fundamentals do not align. So if you back out what kind of growth rate is expected over the next 5-10 years, what kind of margin expansion is expected over the next 5-10 years, that's baked into this current valuation, that for us seems to be a bit of a stretch. At the same time, though, alongside our fair value estimate, we also have a bull case for Palantir, which turbocharges some of those growth estimates, and we still end up below Palantir's current price. And that's not factoring in the 10% plus after market's price increase there.
I'm curious, when it comes to Palantir's AI tools and AI strategy, what are they doing different, in your opinion, than their peers and the competition?
Well, first of all, the thing is that a lot of AI with a lot of other software companies has been more about jumping on the bandwagon. Palantir has been an AI company from its very beginning. So I think that's one advantage that clearly has. The second unique aspect of Palantir is their bootcamp-led sales model, which has clearly shown great success in the US. And we expect that to sort of continue as the technology proliferates and as the Europeans become more open to trying out some of these AI tools. And as I said, this is their field. They know what they're doing, and they've been doing it for many years. Their management has really, sort of honed in on AI, on this demand for AI, this uptick in customer interest for AI, and we're seeing that especially in the U.S. commercial space.
Ahmed, thank you so much. Appreciate that instant analysis.
So, I mean, what do you guys think about that same argument around valuation, right? So same thing we heard from Brent. They just can't get the numbers right. And look, I don't blame them when it comes to trying to figure out these numbers. I get it. Palantir, it's an expensive stock. We all know this. It's just the inability, I think, for some of them to see a broader picture outside of just the numbers, which I don't blame them for looking at the numbers, but I think there's more to that. I think that's why a lot of analysts miss this. I'm not saying that's a reason they have to upgrade the stock today to $50, but I mean, keeping it at $11 or $25 or $28 is a bit disrespectful, in my opinion. It's giving like very little premium to the fundamentals of what makes this company different from the rest of the world. And that's why we read that Bank of America report. I'm posting it right now on Twitter. And what Dan Ives has been saying about use cases, the reason they had what at the time seemed like absurd price targets at 50 have been achieved. And now they have to raise their price targets because Mariana and Dan both understood this story was special. And it's because they didn't only focus on the numbers, which I think is just so important to always remember and keep in mind. But I guess this will be an ongoing debate forever in the Palantir community with analysts and other people that try to study the stock about valuation. As Shari says, how to value a unicorn. Yeah, it's hard, dude. And look, it should be hard. It should be hard to value a company that is a juggernaut of potential. I mean, I think that's the real way to sum it up. It's like people are attracted to potential at the end of the day, right? And when you show that you have potential, you show that you have ambition, you can get investors to invest in you. You can get, You can have a significant other, right? A lot of people that end up broke but become rich, they might get a significant other because the significant other sees the potential in the journey that the person is on. Like potential is what gives people hope. And if Palantir is just a juggernaut of potential in terms of technology that technology that they can revolutionize in regards to what the ontology can become. I mean, you've got all this shit going on with AGI, quantum computing, all this stuff. If Palantir could be an operating system for a lot of these different verticals, and I know I'm just spitballing here, but I think that's what the street is betting on in terms of what they could become, given what 20 years has shown their ability in terms of R&D and innovation, then that's what I think people are buying Palantir for. I think that's what people are buying to Palantir. It's a juggernaut of potential that people are excited about. Jake says hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane. Yes, and the opposite side is that all that potential is quote unquote overvalued and the stock has a major correction. That is also something that can happen as a result of having a lot of hope. So it goes both ways, but at least for this year, given the stock has now outperformed NVIDIA, I think people are betting on what they can become. And it's up to them to prove it, but last quarter was at least one of those days where they proved it. They absolutely proved it when it comes to the numbers. 9 to 11 is an 18% gain. Yeah, shout out to Rishi for giving us an 18% gain. Okay, I got to tweet this out. Give me 1 second, guys. So let me tweet out this Bank of America thing so people can get it. And then we will keep moving forward. See, that's another reason this community is so cool, dude. The fact that I have access to this research like immediately as it comes out, because you've got people that are just like there to share and crowdsource due diligence. This is why in freaking 2022 we were able to find out so much shit about. Dude, do you guys remember for the OGs remember in 2022 we had we had a whole community in a Discord to try to find out customers that Palantir had using their Foundry multi-pass login links. like we knew Palantir was working with United way before the rest of the world did, because that's how obsessed we were. And it's just really special to see how much the community has come together to actually do what we have to do. TJ right here. TJ, I see you're in the chat. You just texted me, should we sell covered calls on Hood and what strike? Let me answer you right now, because I'm sorry I couldn't text you back, bro. I'm just like trying to manage all this stuff coming in. So Robinhood's at 25. Let's ask the chat. What do you guys think? So if we had to sell 100 calls on Robinhood right now, covered calls, Palantir, by the way, $50.50. The premiums for $30 for what? December 6th, a month out, are paying 38 cents. Is that reasonable? 38 cents for $30 covered calls a month out? If we do 32, we get 20 cents. So we would make what, $2,000 roundabout? Yeah, $2,000 for $32 a month out. I don't think that's crazy. The better premium's around 27, 28, but I don't know, dude. Robinhood, I don't think ever should have been down below 27, 28. You know, I could have seen it bottom get at 25, went all the way to 23.5. So there is an argument that if Bitcoin starts getting momentum, if the election goes well, Palantir right here, 50.62, then maybe Robinhood goes back to, that 27, 28 range. And I don't know if we want to get shares called away at those levels. TJ, I think 32 is reasonable. I mean, 30 would be a little sweeter, but if we want to hedge ourselves a little bit in case there's a big Bitcoin run and rate cuts coming down the way, then maybe 32. So we pick up about $2,000. And if we have to sell at 32, we can manage that position, or we can navigate it if it gets to 32. So I'll say 32, TJ. That's what I'm thinking. December 6th, 32. That seems a bit reasonable. I think Bitcoin's going to be the wild card here, but we got to see kind of how this election plays out. Palantir's at $50.56. Again, we've been greedy all year. Let's be a little bit more greedy, just a little bit. And let's see at 51. What is waiting for us at 51, 23,000 shares. Again, it doesn't seem like a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot if we get there. TJ just texted and said, let's wait for rate cuts. Yeah, that actually makes more sense. Let's wait for rate cuts. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I would rate for, if you want to sell covered calls on Palantir today as well, guys, I would also, look, this is a great price to sell covered calls at. I get it, but we've got a Fed that's going to cut rates in a day. So I mean, there's a world in which rate cuts create even more liquidity and Palantir goes even higher, and then the covered calls get even better. So I would kind of give it a couple of days, especially with the election. Now, granted, the opposite could happen. The Fed could cut rates and, the market could not care about the election. And then, just general sell-off happens and then covered calls are not that juicy on Thursday, especially because the rate cuts are priced in, but also maybe the rate cuts, are not priced in and to an extent, and that could help. So maybe you want to wait just a little bit. Dougie Dulles, thank you for the $50 super chat. Doug, you don't have to send this for me to highlight your comment. I see your comments in the chat, but I appreciate the $50, man. Really, really appreciate it. Analysts keep trying to use models on Palantir. That model was made using data on all these other companies. Once you accept that Palantir is not the same as these other companies, you understand you cannot use the same tools to evaluate it. It seems simple, right? It seems like that's a pretty simple thing to say. But I guess the problem with being an analyst is that you are so wrapped into the tradition. I mean, Arnie was a former analyst. The reason he left being an analyst is because he realized like he's not making a lot of money. You're just like sitting in some bank and you're like putting out these reports, but you're not actually doing something with your capital in a way that can meaningfully find important companies. And so he left that world. And he tells me this all the time. He tells me all that the reason analysts missed Tesla, they missed Nvidia, they missed Amazon in 2014 when it was the most expensive company in the world, is because they used conventional metrics of modeling and valuation on companies that can't have conventional metrics. That doesn't mean conventional metrics aren't important. That just means it's important to not only use those metrics as the basis for valuation. And unfortunately, that's what they did. $50.74, folks. I think 50.85 is what we got to get over to have a realistic shot at 51. Right? Oh, there you go. There's 50.85. Okay, now maybe we're in action. Maybe we are in an action right here. We just broke through 50.85, now at 50.80. Again, at 51, there are 40,000 shares, 39,287 shares. So about 39,000 to break through that 51 level range. Mayor said, Vlad just tweeted, we crossed 100 million contracts on Sunday. Just one day later, we hit 200 million contracts trading on Robinhood presidential markets. Wow. Holy crap, dude. That might be another reason Robinhood's up right now, dude. They just made $2 million in like 5 days. So $2 million. And I'm assuming that's like 95% margins. There's no way that there's like a massive cost to that product for them. So there you go. 200 million contracts traded in a day. Think about the amount of users Robinhood got as well. I mean, to me, it was more of a growth hack than anything. They probably got probably tens of thousands of users, maybe hundreds of thousands if they really got a ton of growth. And all those people now funded a Robinhood account that they might use to buy stocks in the future. So I think it's a really good growth hack, and 200 million contracts just speaks to the product velocity of this company. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Sathark, thank you for the 5. Is this Singaporean dollars? I don't know what that currency is, but thank you for that. Thanks for all you do in the community here. Started investing this year from Singapore. Oh, you said Singapore in the chat. I didn't read that. Thank you from Singapore. So can't always make it to the streams, but love them. What time is it in Singapore right now? Singapore time. It's 11:55 at night. I love it. Thank you for being here, Sathar. It's so cool. It blows my mind all the time that people across the world are literally sitting like in their house, in the car, with their family, in the background, and they're consuming the streams and being part of the live show or the market close. It's just really special, dude. It's really, I will never take it for granted. It's the most special thing in the world. But who is taking it for granted? My mom. I came downstairs yesterday after the show, and my mom and my dad were like doing something, and I think they were about to go out for a walk. And I was just like, I was dead tired because I had just been talking for like 5 hours. And I was like, yeah, we had 7,500 people. And she was like, oh, cool. She didn't give a fuck, bro. She didn't give a fuck, dude. She is so, I told you guys this a while ago, she is so desensitized to like even I, like 7,500 people, I'm very grateful for it. But even I, like when I saw that number yesterday, it didn't hit me or anything. I was like, yeah, like, this is a big day, Palantir stream. People are interested, and like, we're getting used to people tuning into this for big events. But in January, mom was like, oh my God, you had 1,000 people. Oh my God, you're beating Vlad. Now she's like, she doesn't give a fuck, bro. My mom doesn't give a shit. My mom was like, make sure you take out the trash. Dude, literally, she was like, make sure you take out the trash yesterday. I was like, I come downstairs after talking to 7,000 people and I go take out the trash, dude. That is how you remain humble, folks. That is how you remain fucking humble. But no, dude, I don't take it for granted. It's just so special. It's so special. And it's so awesome for being here. Vibe Up says, Amit is a household name. My mom, my dad, and my girlfriend, they all know him. That's also really cool, dude. A lot of you guys said your significant others, like, hear me in the background. And you're spending more time with me than your girlfriends, which is great. I love it, dude. Because, your girlfriend is probably the love of your life and all that stuff. But you're not making money with your girlfriend. You're making money with Amit on the stream. This is a different type of relationship we got going on. Money speaks. All right, $50.87. We are trying to break through that 51. If we break 51, dude, oh my God, it's at 50.90. Oh my God, 50.90. Oh my God, it's at 50.90. Oh my goodness. Mo Money, thank you for the $20 super chat. Such an inspiration and leader of the retail community. Thank you for everything you do. Love watching your streams every day. Thank you, brother, for being here. It means the absolute world. And thank you for being part of the stream. Oh my God, it's at $50.97. Holy shit. Hold on. Let me see where the resistance at 51 is 28,000 shares. It actually went down from 39,000. 28,000 shares. Holy crap, dude. If we actually break 51, guys, again, every time we've been this close, like we've broken through. I know it's a lot to ask today, but we are pretty damn close. We are pennies away. And think about this. Think about this. Think about this. What if $50 gets normalized till the end of the year? We were struggling to think if $40 would be normalized. If this stock ends the year at 50 and 50 is the new 20, we're going to have to get used to buying this motherfucker at 50. It's just, oh my God, dude, if we get to 51, that'd be crazy. Hugo says, dude, what is my life? Watching a line go up and down for days. I know people make fun of it, but dude, to me, watching a line go up and down, which is determining your literal net worth, is more important than watching the Lakers or the Knicks or the Mavericks or fucking whatever sport team play a game. Because first of all, the level of excitement of seeing the line go up and down, it is comparable, if not more exciting, in my opinion, to a sports game. Second of all, a sports game doesn't make you make money. You are wasting your time and money, even if it's a good waste of time, a good escape. We all have very different escapes. I get it. But at the end of the day, you're still wasting your life watching sports because you're not getting really anything of that out of just pure dopamine, which is fine. But I'm on TikTok, I waste my time. If you watch the Knicks game, you're wasting your time. It is a waste of time. With the stock market, I don't think this is a waste of time. There's a real big ROI on the time spent here. And that time, spent has resulted for a lot of people in hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, because of caring about these lines going up or down, So I think that's important. I think it's important at the end of the day to stare at these lines. Manny, thank you for the 20 gifted. You didn't have to do that, dude. You gave 40 gifted yesterday. I really, really appreciate it. Again, thank you for the 20 gifted memberships. I think we're going to have 1,000 people become members this month. And then if you guys want to rejoin as a member next month, it gives you the option. But thank you so much, Manny, for the gifted. Really, really appreciate it. And it's just special, dude. It's really special. This whole community here is very freaking special. Sarut, thank you for becoming a channel member as well. Thank you for being here, Sarut, and being a member. Chakoti, thank you for the $2.49 super chat. All I want is a good opportunity to buy more Palantir. I've wanted that same opportunity to buy more Palantir as well, and we haven't got it. It is what it is, bro. We just haven't got it. And we're going to have to deal with that. We just haven't got it. So maybe we get that in the future. But now, think about this now, dude. We were talking about going back to 30, right? Now, if we go back to 40, that's a hell of a dip. From 50 to 40 is a decent dip, right? Because psychologically, that's just what happens when the stock goes higher. So from 50 to 30 would be like a collapse. And I don't know if we get a collapse at this point. I don't know if that happens. I really don't. Don Tomasino and Dragos, thank you for becoming channel members as well. Appreciate it so much. Thank you for becoming channel members onto the show. Okay, now a lot of you guys are becoming channel members. Dinesh Sorbet, thank you for becoming a channel member. Again, you guys don't have to be members. You don't get anything special for being a member. It just supports the stream. Jim, thank you for the $20 super chat, $19.99. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you for the support. What was funny yesterday? I got a call from somebody, and I'm telling you guys this because I think it is emblematic of the Palantir story as well. I got a call from a pretty big account on Twitter, and the account was like, yo, I got a deal for you. And I never gotten a call from this person in life. I know of this person. They're a pretty big account. So when they called me, I was like pretty surprised. I'm like, why are they calling me? And he said, if you give me 5 minutes, you could walk away with a bag. And in my head, I'm in the parking lot of Walgreens at this moment. And I'm like, I know whatever he's about to say, I'm going to have to say no to, but I'm curious. What does he have to say? And he's like, fucking, I'm not going to say the exact dollar amount, but basically Kalshi, Polymarket, all these like election betting, they're paying a lot of money to influencers to just tweet about like signing up to the event or signing up to the platform or whatever, especially because the election's today. So they're trying to get a lot of people. And let's just say it was multi-thousands of dollars per tweet, just to say, go check out Kalshi or whatever. And it didn't take me 2 seconds to be like, yeah, dude. I mean, like, it's a hell of an offer. I appreciate it, but like, I just don't do sponsorships, right? Like, not, dude. When I mean not for a fucking millisecond, did I think, and it was a lot of money, dude. We're talking about tens and tens of thousands of dollars for like a multi-tweet deal. Like, it's a lot of money just to press tweet, because and I don't blame Kalshi and Polymarket, right? They're trying to get there's influencer marketing. That's what they have to do. But not for a second did I think, that's a decent amount of money. Maybe I should say yes, to fucking press tweet and to get thousands of dollars. And I there was not a millisecond of hesitation for me to say I don't do sponsorships because of this community, because of the authenticity that is what we're building, dude. It's just like I just appreciate people spending their time and having their attention on me. You don't want to suck that out by throwing some stupid shit at them, which is these betting markets. Again, good products. I personally just don't believe in them too much, but you don't want to advertise something that you don't believe in. And it's one of those things that I hold very near and dear to my heart. So when I see you guys become channel members, I really appreciate it, because there's no other way you guys are ever going to get sold something from me ever. It's just never going to happen. Like, I've come to that conclusion. There's no amount of money. It's just not gonna, I mean, like, the most promotion we've done on this channel is the merch store for Palantir. And that's because like it's Palantir, right? Like, so it's like it's a special thing, and it's something for the community. But outside of that, we're just not doing promotions. We're not doing sponsorships. And honestly, I want to go down as one of the only financial YouTubers that doesn't do promotions and sponsorships. And if I make any money, it's from people becoming members of the channel and like actually just supporting. Like, that would be the best way for this to play out. Because it's the Palantir way, dude. It's the fucking Palantir way. It's the don't sell snake oil type of methodology of winning. Palantir, $50.72. And as we can see, at $50 freaking dollars, it works when you're just authentic and real, and you don't sell a pile of horseshit into the enterprise, and you have BP and Airbus that want to sign with you for the next decade because they believe that you're actually a partner more than a customer. It matters, bro. It really, 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 really matters. And I think for anyone in life that's on any journey that's trying to build something, like, authenticity at its core is like, it's the framework to win. A lot of hard work. You need a little bit of luck. But like, not selling out is important. It's really, really important. I think that's lost today because people try to find the quick buck. And, everyone has different financial situations. I get it. I'm not the richest guy in the world where, denying tens of thousands of dollars is an easy thing to do. But integrity just matters so much more. It really, really does. And I don't think I could live with myself if I don't have the integrity. And, I think Palantir is the same. I don't think they could live with themselves if they nickel and dime to their clients. The reason Palantir doesn't have to nickel and dime their clients is because when they charge $1, which is way more than a nickel and a dime, they're saying, hey, pay me this dollar with the utmost confidence, because they know what they've been able to show in terms of results. And, that's why you got Palantir here having levels that they're having right now. And again, yeah, I don't blame Kalshi or Polymarket for doing that. I mean, they're just influencer marketing, right? They have to find people to tweet out their stuff. I mean, that's just part of their game. And they offered this to me a while ago, but I said no. But then, someone called me up and said, no, they stepped up the price really heavy. But still, the answer is no. If I said no to them, 2 months ago when they offered this, it's going to be no today, even if the money goes up. I'm actually just here for the Grinder analyst. Dude, I'm telling you, if freaking Grinder goes to 20, I am taking all the credit. I don't care if I don't own it. I am taking the credit on this stock. It is what it is. Honestly, bro, in 2025, I think I'm going to buy 1,000 shares. I don't care what the price is in January. I'm going to buy 1,000 shares. I'm going to just keep it long. If it goes back down to $8, we'll DCA. I don't want to buy it right now because I think maybe I'll get a better price. But in 2025, we're going to buy 1,000 shares, even if it's just as a joke, just to see what could happen. Even though I really think there's a moat here, bro. I really think there's something special with them. And we'll just keep it in the portfolio and see what happens. And see what it does. SoFi 1152, not bad on SoFi. So Robinhood right here 2501, SoFi 1153, and you got Palantir trying to make a run back to 5090. I think 51 has a chance, bro. We were very close to it. Usually when that happens for Palantir, it just comes right back after chilling out for a little bit. I think it'll get there. Adam says the smartest people understand delayed gratification 1000%. And in a lot of religious texts, the concept of delayed gratification is a motif that is present in pretty much every religious text that is out there. The idea that you sacrifice now and you gain, I mean, that's the entire concept of kind of like heaven and hell, right? It's like you sacrifice your material obsessions on earth in order for a better afterlife. Same thing with Buddhism, right? You give up the ego in order to reach nirvana. All of these kind of themes revolve around the concept of delaying your gratification. And ironically, your gratification becomes way more gratifying when it's delayed, because in the process of delaying it, you actually built something meaningful to be gratified for, versus the short-term tendencies that people have to try to get it, It's important. It's an important idea. You should do a live tour across the US. Yeah, one day. And I want to start traveling a lot more in 2025. So we gotta keep doing this. You should keep saying no until the offer 10x's. That would be funny. That would be very funny. No, dude, even if they offered like 100,000 to fucking tweet the post, I still would say no, dude. I know that sounds crazy to say, but I really would say no. Like, first of all, if any company is paying $100,000 to an influencer, that means something like that's FTX type of vibes, right? Like, there's no way they can afford that. So first of all, that just doesn't make sense. Second of all, again, just don't believe in it. Would you DCA at Palantir for $50? No, I wouldn't DCA at 50. I mean, look, it's got to stay above 50 for a while for me to believe that DCAing at 50 makes sense. I understand why it's 50. I personally wouldn't DCA right here, but if it stays at 50 for the next couple of weeks, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm in this to have more shares. I'm not in this just to, be up a certain percentage. So if we have to start buying at 50 because I think it'll go to 250 one day, then look, if you believe it's 250 and you buy at 50, that's a hell of a deal. The question is, do you think it's actually going to go to 250? And do you think it'll maintain the current level, or do you think you'll get a better entry price? That's what we have to think about. And, that will determine if we buy more. All right. I'm getting a call from a good friend of our channel, Mr. Steve. Let's pick up right here. Steve, you're live on the Market Open.
Hello, Amit. How are you?
I'm good. You sound a little irritated for some reason.
Oh, I'm so irritated.
Well, I'm looking at a stock that's up 23%, and I'm pretty happy. I don't know why you're irritated.
Yeah, because my call options are underwater, and I can't figure out where I'm going to roll.
So, outside of your covered calls being in jeopardy right now,
in jeopardy? They're screwed.
Dude, you can always roll out of them, pay a debit. Like, you can manage it. It's not that.
No. I'm not coming out of pocket with my own money. I'm going to figure this out.
Steve, when you have a really good stock you don't want to lose, it's okay to pay a debit to keep the stock.
No.
That's not a bad thing.
No.
Like if you have to pay $5,000 to qualify for $45,000 of capital appreciation, that's just the nature of business. You just have to stomach that.
About it.
Some of these things you got to stomach. It is what it is.
I'm going to buy my way out of this hole with other people's money. It's the last thing I do.
Okay. Well, anyway, what are your thoughts on Palantir's Q3 earnings?
This is so ridiculous and so overdone that the Palantir community is going to shun me on Friday if I get this article done.
Are you about to write a bearish article on Palantir?
Not writing a bearish article. The growth is phenomenal. The company's phenomenal. Everything about the quarter was phenomenal. But at some point, they are running a business and numbers matter. And this valuation makes 0 sense. This is Tesla all over again. This is GameStop. This is crazy.
Hold on. Now I know why you said people are going to get mad. You really think us at 50 is GameStop? You really think that?
Us at 50 is a nosebleed. You can't even say that this is stretch. This is insanity. It's insanity. What's the market cap at 50? 120 billion? 125 billion?
113
billion. And they're going to generate $1 billion in free cash flow. This is crazy talk.
I mean, look, no one's saying it's cheap.
Oh, it's the furthest thing from cheap.
No one's saying it's cheap, but I don't know if it's GameStop. Like,
all right, maybe GameStop's not the right company to say in this, but the bottom line is this thing can keep going. This thing can go to 60, and it scares me. But at some point, people are going to take a profit. I didn't think that they were going to run this up this much today. But once again, at some point, this is going to cool off.
I mean, look, we thought it was going to cool off at 35. We thought it was going to cool off at 45. I'm not saying it can't cool off at 50, and it probably will if it doesn't maintain 50 for the next couple of weeks. But I think it's become evidently clear that the market thinks Palantir is the next NVIDIA. At least to an extent.
The next NVIDIA.
I'm not saying it's the next NVIDIA, but the way the stock price is acting as if people believe it has a chance.
35% of their net income comes from interest income. That's one. Two, just because they're going to generate $1 billion in free cash flow this year doesn't mean they're going to generate $1 billion in net income or pure profit this year. They're nowhere near that. NVIDIA, their growth rate on net income is crazy.
I'm not saying they're NVIDIA. I'm just saying I think a lot like, so if you're a fund manager this year, Steve, and you have to go to your clients at the end of 2024 and you have to tell them you didn't have NVIDIA in the portfolio, you're probably getting fired. I think a lot of these fund managers are seeing the reacceleration of growth. They're seeing the AI thematic. They're seeing their base.
Buying Palantir at $50 is not the answer to save jobs of fund managers. They missed the boat.
But what I'm saying is if they don't want to miss the 5-year boat when this thing might be $200.
A 5-year boat. This thing has hit a price that exceeds Ives' most bullish case for next year that everybody thought he was crazy for.
Well, hold on. Then why did Ives raise the price target today? You've got to say Ives is the biggest idiot in the world for raising it to $57 then.
I'm not, no. I'm good with him raising it. I am just saying that pre this quarter, his price target for next year was 45. And everybody thought that was nuts.
No, but hold on, Steve. You cannot say that this is not a 5-year trajectory, that this is being priced for like 10, 20 years of growth. If you also agree with the 57, do you agree with the $57 price target from Ives? Yes or no?
For when? Next year?
Yeah, it's always a year out.
Oh, Palantir could be at 75 next year. I mean, he's going to look like a genius.
So then why are you upset at this run?
I am just saying that at some point valuations matter. And this is becoming dangerous territory. And while this company is becoming very profitable, as the Fed takes rates down, they're going to make less capital from their.
But hold on, Steve. I got to grill you on this. You said valuations matter. Let's say Palantir does $2 billion in free cash flow next year, which they're not. I mean, I don't think they will. Let's say they do $2 billion. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Ives is a $57 price target. That puts Palantir at basically $140 billion. You think $140 billion on $2 billion of free cash flow makes sense next year?
70 times free cash flow? No, I don't.
Okay, so then why do you agree with the 57?
It's more reasonable than where it is today, but it still doesn't make sense.
So then how do you agree with it? You have to disagree with his price target.
I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm just saying it could blow past his number, and he could look like a genius. The momentum today, after all the shares that were sold by insiders, nothing is stopping this freight train. Nothing.
So then why are you upset? Why are you grouchy then?
I'm just saying that this valuation makes zero sense, and it's so irrational that this could just continue and it could just keep going.
So I agree with you. It's expensive. The part I don't get with what you're saying it's irrational, but then you're agreeing that it could go to 75, and that's so. If
you can't say it has no chance of going to 75. It clearly can't. It clearly can keep going high.
Okay, so then my point is you have to resolve the irrational nature of the valuation to maybe become more rational than you thought if you believe it can go to 75. Like if you think it can go to 75, how is 50 irrational?
Because more people could potentially just keep buying this.
So then there has to be some rational explanation for it. Or at that point, is it just a meme stock?
It becomes a meme stock. This is not trading on any fundamentals that make sense whatsoever.
I agree. The fundamentals don't make a lot of sense. But if you read...
At some point, you have to look at this as a business and not what they're doing in their business. Two different things. Everybody gets Palantir's business case. Everybody gets that they are doing something nobody else is doing. But at the end of the day, they are a business that generates revenue and profit. And at some point, you have to actually look at this as a business for the operating metrics that they are producing. And when you look at the operating metrics that they are producing from the sales of their software, this valuation makes zero sense. You have to look at this at some point as if another company was going to acquire them. Who the hell would pay that market price plus a premium to generate 2.5 to 3 billion of revenue and $1 billion of free cash?
You saw my Chris Camillo interview, right?
I saw the Chris Camillo interview.
The momentum level of investing that he engages in, I think, is being played out here in front of our eyes. And on my screen right now, Bank of America put out a new note today. They raised the price target to 55. Their title for their note: "A juggernaut is emerging, infrastructure that unleashes the power of AI." I think the answer to your concern is very simple. They will grow into the valuation.
I'm not saying they can't grow into this.
So then why is it irrational?
I am just saying that right now, based on these metrics, even with the current growth rate, this looks like you are in nosebleed territory. And it scares me about how much more this could actually go.
I disagree. I think that rule of 40 being at 68% is absolutely incredible. I think their operating margins are at levels we haven't seen for a SaaS company. They have $4.6 billion in cash. If they really invest that back into growth, you're not looking at 30% growth. You're looking at closer to 45, maybe 50% if they really execute well. And do I agree 50 is expensive? Yes. But if you're betting on potential, which is the stock market is about future growth and potential, what other company has in software has the potential of Palantir? Right? Like, seriously, what other companies out there that has the potential? It's not ServiceNow. It's not Adobe. It's not Datadog. It's not Snowflake. I mean, like, if it's a one of one, I think we've got to give it the premium of one of one. Now, we've given it a hell of a premium. I'm not going to argue with you there, and I don't feel comfortable buying it at 50 either.
Would you buy more here?
No, but if you don't have a position, I mean, dude, this is the nature of the market, right? I don't.
If you did not have a position, would you buy this right now?
If I did not have a position and I wanted to be long AI, I would sell puts at 45. Maybe I wouldn't buy it at 50, but I would at least try to scale in, and I would have to accept that I missed, like on Tesla. Would I have loved to buy Tesla at fucking $20? Yeah, but I wasn't there when Tesla was. I have to buy it at 250 now.
This may go past 51 today. I mean, it tried getting to 51 and went back down under 50, and now it's trying to fight to get back to 51. This is nuts.
It is nuts. And look, I agree with you. Buying it, but also I've been here for years. There's a lot of people in the chat that have positions that are built up. No, but as I'm saying, you don't need to buy at 50 because you've been here for years. You were buying at $8. So we don't need to stress about buying it at 50.
I get that.
But there's a lot of people that do.
Market stocks just don't go up.
Well, I agree with that.
Like, pullbacks are healthy, and I am not saying that they shouldn't go higher in the future, because I have always said I think this gets to 100 or 150 at certain dates, 2027 through 2030. I thought it was going to hit certain milestones. I just didn't think in the short term that this was going to blow up the way that it did. And this is not healthy right now.
So I will agree with you there. I will agree with you there. I do think it's a little not healthy for it to just keep going up and eventually that leads to a crash. My only nuance there is that if we dip back down to 40, like, that's not a big deal and we're still at 40.
No,
right?
Not at all. And it would be very healthy for this to get a retracement to the high 30s, low 40s. It'd be very healthy. And I would not be surprised if that dip gets bought up and it goes back up to 45 to 50. I just think that if this does not decline, and if it keeps going up this week, something's broken. That's all.
So I hear you. There is one thing, though, that I think we have to remember. NVIDIA is telling the world the AI revolution is here for the next decade. If software is the byproduct of all that AI, Palantir is the answer, at least for what we know. If Palantir is the answer, let's just assume it is. at $112 billion market cap. I know that's insane for the multiples. But if NVIDIA goes to 6 trillion, you think Palantir is going to be stuck at 100 billion? No, Palantir is going to be much higher than 100 billion if NVIDIA is at $6 trillion. Because again,
you are assuming that every company is going to adopt Palantir. You're making a lot.
Oh, I'm not assuming. I'm hearing Karp say that that their clients are telling them they have no alternatives to Palantir. Like either you believe him or you don't, and based on the growth, you can have a good knack of believing him here, right?
I mean, keep in mind they have less than 1,000 customers.
And they're still putting up almost $3 billion in revenue. How fucking crazy is that?
I'm just saying they have less than 1,000 customers.
But that's bullish to me because when they do get 1,000
just
customers,
saying that every company is not using them. Like you are assuming that there's no other alternative, and you are assuming that they're going to be the only play in AI when you are going to have companies such as SAP, Salesforce, Workday, Oracle introduce AI applications in their systems that people are going to utilize.
and they're going to grow at 30% year over year.
I'm not saying that did not come out of my mouth. I'm just saying that they're not the only AI play.
Well, look, that's if they commoditize Palantir's growth, then yeah, that you have a point. But if Palantir keeps growing and reaccelerating, Steve, government grew 40% last night. Government,
You mean year over year? It didn't grow in one day 40%.
No, of course, year over year. But I assumed you knew that's what I meant. But it was 24%.
Yeah, I'm just making sure everybody else understands me.
Look, Steve, just because your covered calls are underwater doesn't mean people aren't having fun today. Okay. No, but I get it. I feel you. I know there's plenty of people that have covered calls that are stuck right now and annoyed. I get it.
I feel bad for one specific person. I'm not going to mention this person's name.
Well, now you have to mention their name.
No, you know who it is.
Is it the person who is never mind.
It's the person whose covered calls are so underwater that's crazy.
Wait, TJ? Well, he doesn't care. Those $12
I didn't say any names.
Yeah, TJ mentally accepted at 45. He was losing those $12 covered calls, so it is what it is. But yeah, dude,
I cannot believe I'm about to roll to December 2026. I cannot believe this.
What strike are you looking at? 50? December 2026?
No, I'm looking at still in the money, not even out of the money.
I mean, dude, there's a world where you can just pay the debit, get out of this.
Of course there is a world where I can pay the debit, but I don't want to pay the debit.
I mean, but that's just you being ideological at this point. Like,
it's me being cheap.
Yeah, and you don't need to be cheap. Like I
don't need to be
you're
cheap.
doing well.
I want to be cheap.
So election is today. After the election, do you think Palantir tanks? Do you think the market tanks, or?
I'm trying not to turn on the TV until tonight. I don't want to know. I'm not looking at Twitter. All I can ask for is that there's gridlock in Washington, and that's all I can wish for at this point. And that whoever wins is a blowout and there's no contestant to the election. Whichever way the cookie crumbles, I want it to be a blowout.
Steve, we are once. Oh my God, Steve, do you know what just happened? Do you know what just happened, Steve?
No.
Do you know what just happened? Do you know what just happened?
51,
We have hit $51 on Palantir. You better start rolling those covered calls.
And just because you did that, it's now under 51.
Look, this is the theme with Palantir. Every time it breaks above something, it takes a little dip and then it comes back. I think we'll be right back to 51.
Yeah, so okay, cool. We're gonna be at 56 by the end of the day. It's not even noon yet. Yeah, no problem. Right?
Dude, it only goes up. We found a stock that only goes up.
We did find a stock that only goes up.
Who says stocks don't only go up? Show them Palantir. Goodness gracious. Obviously, I'm kidding, guys. Stocks don't only go up. But this is incredible, dude. This is pretty incredible. It's pretty fucking incredible.
This is insanity.
It is insanity, but it's justified insanity, in my opinion. It's justified insanity. It's a creative paradox of contradictions that is emblematic of the authentic nature of Palantir. Someone's got to put that on a shirt. I don't even know how I came up with that, but put that on a shirt. Karp said yesterday, we embrace being a contradiction. And I thought that was such a unique philosophical argument because they're not supposed to be the way they are and everyone doubted them and they did everything the wrong way. They're a contradiction, literally a paradox, but it's working because they're being them, you know? And I know you don't want to hear any of that, but still, that's it's something to at least think about for Palantir.
You are trying to be a good role model to society.
Well, okay, let's end it off on this. You did vote today, right? So you're doing your civic duty and you voted, so that's great.
I got up at 5:30 in the morning and I went and voted.
I'm proud of you. You're a good role model. I voted as
did
well.
not want to wait online. I was like the 20th person there.
All right. Well, now we wait till this election. I guess we'll see how that affects the market.
Oh man, I'm going to tell you the bear case for Palantir offline.
No, tell it online. It's, dude, like, give it to everybody. What's the bear? Oh, you mean the election? It's election oriented?
It's politically related, so I'm not going to talk about it live.
Okay. All right. So tell me offline. That's fine. All right, Steve. Thank you. Have a good day. And well, when did the coverage calls expire? The current ones you have?
Oh, the current ones I have are for January 2026.
I mean, dude, you've got a lot of theta that I feel like you can collect as you wait.
At this point, they're going to get called away.
No, because, dude, if 2025 has any level of correction, like...
Listen, I just had options on a REIT called away a month and a half early, and I've never seen that happen before. And the strike was at 35, and the shares were at 39, and they got called away. It wasn't even that big of a spread.
Wait, how long was the expiration on them?
There's like a month and a half left on them.
Oh, well, that's why they got called. Dude, you have a year on these covered calls for January 2020. Like, you can... If Palantir goes back to 40, you're going to be able to roll out of them way easier. And if you believe the valuation is ridiculous right now, then why would you roll them today?
Well, because if I extend my duration and go up and out and pull some capital out and get paid to do it, I use someone else's money to buy more upside if it does get called away. And if it does fall, I will be able to reverse roll into something else eventually. That is the method to the madness.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a fair point. That's fair.
So I'm basically, in case it gets called away later today or tomorrow, I'm going to make more money. And I'll have a more long-dated call option at a higher price. So if it does fall, it'll be much cheaper for me to scale back.
All right. That's fair.
I'm just mentally going through the motions at the moment.
I mean, look, I would say sit back, enjoy the ride. We've been covering this for 4 years. I know it's a little crazy valuation wise, but it's not up to us. It's up to the market to price this. And
100%, it's up to the market. People think it's worth buying here.
Well, Steve, here's the biggest question. We're up 22%, up $20 billion today, market cap. Do you really think retail is moving this $20 billion today?
I think institutions are coming in. I think that retail is buying more. I think everybody's buying more. And it's crazy that they didn't freaking see this at 15 or 20 when all the signs were there. Like, the signs are not there to buy it today. The signs were there last year.
Well, here's my question. If retail's not moving this up 20% and it's the institutions, then I think we have a good shot of at least staying somewhat at these levels, right?
We could. Look, I don't have a crystal ball. We very well could. It is just the signs were there. And the fact that nobody took it seriously is causing pandemonium right now. And good for everybody who's in it. But I mean, the signs were all there. There was no bear case for so long.
Well, some people did take it seriously, like you and I.
Yeah, people who didn't know what ontology was.
Oh man, where's our boy Bear Cave, dude? We gotta
people who did not know what ontology was and didn't understand the company. Anybody who did 20 minutes worth of research could see that the numbers were good. There was no debt. They kept growing. They kept gaining customers. Net dollar retention kept going up. That this was not a joke.
Well, so here's my thing. If the pandemonium of this $50 price is because everyone feels like they missed out at $15, $20, $8, then I feel like that pandemonium can continuously be chaotic, right?
You gotta be careful because there's a lot of people with a lot of shares that got in very low. This pump today could be a trigger for people taking profits and then buying back.
So here's my thing. Here's my thing. I know a lot of retail investors. I know a lot of them were selling in the high 30s because they thought that was ridiculous.
No,
I don't think that many. I think this is like holding Nvidia at $20 and like just being afraid to let it go. I think a lot of retail is actually going to hold on to it. I really do. I really do. I mean, some of them are definitely going to sell 100%, and it's well deserved. But I think people are bought into the mission and the story, and they're going to hold on. And if the stock falls to what 35, 40, I mean, it's just the reason to buy more if you think it's going to be exciting, which I think retail will just buy the dip.
I mean, if that happens, the dip is going to get bought hard. I can't see a situation where this doesn't, or profit taking doesn't happen. That's all I'm saying. Like at some point, people are going to take profits.
Well, here's the big question, Steve. Institutions, they can do a basic valuation model, right? If you're saying 120 billion for the metrics that they put up currently, price to sales, PE, et cetera, is insane, which I agree. You can argue that it is insane. Why are the institutions not selling?
Well, some of them are mandated to buy because it's part of the S&P. Keep in mind.
But besides that, forget that part. Like other institutions that have held on for a while, like Renaissance Technologies, they're not selling 40 million shares of Palantir, right? Like if the institutions believe that the valuation, even though it's up there, is kind of like an Amazon in 2014, where I'm not saying it's Amazon, but it's the same metaphor that Amazon was deemed as a crazily expensive company and then it became Amazon. If that's the mainstream consensus thinking, which could be wrong, but let's say that's the thinking, why would people sell?
If people aren't in a position to sell, they don't need to, people are not going to sell. But at some point, you have a service to your clients as an institutional investor to maximize profits and to actually turn a profit. And when you're up 300%, 400%, 500%, sometimes you got to take some money off the table. You may not have to take the whole thing, but if profits are not locked in on this is a pure case of just greed.
I mean, I think you have a point. It's just if you took profits on Nvidia this year, that was not the smart move. But Nvidia is growing more than Palantir, so that's the difference. So
yeah, the difference is Nvidia is generating $54 billion in profit, and they're on a run rate to potentially generate $75 billion next year and potentially crack $100 billion in 2026. They're on a run rate for that. Palantir is nowhere near that. Palantir will be lucky if they generate 650, 700 million in net income this year.
Yeah, I just think the market's using something else to evaluate.
100%, and they may not even be evaluating this, and that's fine. All I'm saying is this is irrational at this point. Stocks don't just go up, and this could keep going further. I just think at some point this is going to cool off. That's all.
That's fair. And the one thing that gives me confidence right here is that I don't think this is GameStop, because GameStop was only retail, no institutional investors.
Yeah, it's not the right analogy. It's Tesla that never played by the rules.
Yeah,
I think
it's more Tesla.
Like a real company. It's just like Tesla. And companies can be like that. Tesla's been overvalued for the longest time. I'm a Tesla shareholder, and I don't think it deserves the valuation it has.
Yeah, and dude, if it's just another Tesla story where it's expensive for a while and people, like, I'm getting ready to start building a position in Tesla next year. I'm gonna have to be buying it at 800 billion. Is that undervalued? No. But like the long-term thesis, yeah, if Tesla goes to 10 trillion one day, if you believe in that thesis, yeah. If you believe Palantir goes to a trillion, it's a 10x from even 100 billion, even if it's not the best price to get it at.
But what you start talking about these numbers with Palantir, what software company is anywhere near $1 trillion? Like pure play software company.
Dude, I get it. Like Salesforce is barely at 300 billion.
And
I get it.
You can't say Meta is a software company because it's not. It's a product company. It's a product services company.
Have you seen the new Warp Speed website that Palantir put out a couple of days ago?
It's in my list of things to do. I haven't seen it.
Okay, so the only reason I'm saying that is because their ability to launch software offerings tailored to reindustrialize different verticals, to me, is the way that a B2B company goes to $1 trillion without having a consumer product. I think if any B2B software company was going to go to $1 trillion, it would be Palantir.
So to go to $1 trillion, you would have to think, based on what we've seen, every company that has gone to $1 trillion, except for Tesla, okay, they're generating at least 10 to 20 billion in free cash flow, if not more.
All right, so Palantir has to 10x their free cash flow right now, is what you're saying.
What I am saying is, to get to $1 trillion, I mean,
it's not going to be easy. This is why I'm going to have a job for a long time covering this company. But
oh my god,
like, look, I also understand how insane it is to say trillion. I'm not like trying to be naive here. I'm just saying.
I just want to say one thing.
There is a world where it's possible.
The ice cube has officially melted.
Oh yeah, Snowflake's out of here. Where's Snowflake right now?
Melted, like completely melted.
Where's Snowflake right now? 114. Goodness gracious, dude.
Melted. Everybody was like, Snowflake's going to put Palantir under. Snowflake's this, Snowflake's that. Second thing ever is Sweetman. What did I say?
Yeah, this sucker is down 50% all time.
Second that Sweetman left, I said, this ain't good.
The stark comparison, Palantir is up 452% all time. Snowflake, which was Wall Street's darling, is down 52% all time.
Snowflake should be called the Melton Cube.
All right. Well, that's it. I'll talk to you later,
You're
Steve.
going to have a fun day. You're going to talk about Palantir all day, and then you're going to go right into the election.
Dude, I don't think we've talked about anything besides Palantir today. Like, it's.
Why would you?
Yeah, I mean, like, in the morning, I was like, all right, guys, we're going to spend 30 minutes on Palantir, then we'll move on, and then it ended up being, like, 2 hours.
I didn't even think you were still streaming right now. That's why I called.
Now, dude, we saw, because we had to see it go to 50. It went to 50. And now it went to 51. I want to see it go back to 51, so we got to stay on a little bit more and see.
I mean, why not 60?
Why not?
You understand what you just said? You said we had to see it go to 50. We were at 40 the other day. Like, these are not just numbers on a screen. This is tens of billions of dollars in market cap.
Market cap, schmarket cap, bro. I just want to see
you
us.
said that yesterday to me. Do not say that again.
What's a market cap?
I'm going to go back and read.
I'm wearing a cap right now. Like, I analyze the market. Am I a market cap? Like, what's a market cap, dude? It's just numbers. I want to see 50 to 51 to 52. It's not hard.
Are the people in the chat enjoying this conversation?
Oh, they're loving it. They are loving it. They are loving it. You know, valuation, smaluation. You know what I mean? I mean, 50. Let's get to 60.
I will pay for the tattoo if you want to get that tattooed on your body. I will pay for it. I will send you a wire.
What's so ironic about this, most people know the story. In 2021, when I started talking about finance on YouTube, I was a kid. I was 23 years old, and I didn't really know what a market cap was.
You weren't a kid. You were a full-blown adult.
I was a kid in the context of finance. So let's say that. And I really had not studied the markets. Sorry, what I was going to say is, but I didn't know what a market cap.
Stocks only go up.
No, I didn't know what a market cap was. That was the joke, right? Like, I really didn't understand what a market cap was. And then I learned, right? Like you go through it, and Palantir goes down to $6. You fucking learn. Oh, buying it at 21 was an expensive market cap at 2021. Or I bought it at 25 at the time. And it's so ironic because the kid who didn't know what a fucking market cap was is analyzing a company that doesn't give a fuck about a market cap anymore because it just keeps going up, and it's just so crazy to see how this is playing out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hell of a story. It's a hell of a story.
It is a hell of a story, isn't it?
It's a hell of a story. All right, I'm getting a call from our good friend, Mr. Chris Patel. Oh, Chris said add me to the call. Oh, hold on, let me add him.
Mr. Chris Patel, listen to that.
Hold on. All right, stay on the phone. We're gonna do it. We're going to get all three of us here. Call. Okay, so let's see. All right, Chris, I'm merging us right now. All right, both of you are live on the Market Open. How are you, Chris?
I'm good because the cruise lines are making me a crap ton of money, but at the same time, I'm looking at this Palantir thing, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ, man. Listen, this is how the market works. The market is sometimes gets irrational, and it gets really, really irrational. And it looks like the rationality is there. People are willing to buy this thing with huge risk for the ups, to the downside, primarily because once again, the valuation makes no sense. But, if 2021 has taught us anything, valuations don't matter. People were buying companies that were producing basically dog shit, and they were still making, getting like 50, 60, $100 billion market cap valuations in 2021. I'm not saying the Palantir makes dog shit. I'm just saying the valuation is really high. I think this year is a really, really good year, year over year, and I think the bullishness is carrying over into the community. And you know what? Congratulations to anyone holding Palantir. I did not see this coming. I'm not the oracle of Delphi. I can't predict the markets and how the market's going to react. At the end of the day, this is one of those things that you guys have to figure out. The one thing I will say, and I know people just keep asking me, like, Chris, when are you buying? I'm like, look, I don't want any skin in the game in this company. All right. Like for me, the risk perspective is too high. So the risk to reward is just not there. So I find I have other plays that are doing really well that, that I'll stick to. I don't need to chase this company. Yeah.
Steve, any thoughts on that?
Well, Chris said the most important word, irrational.
So, okay. So Steve, you would agree with everything Chris is saying about valuation, essentially.
Right now, valuation doesn't matter, but at some point, numbers matter. At some point, how much profit you produce matters. At some point, the story does not overshadow the fundamentals of the company. We're not there right now. We're going to get there at some point.
Yeah. And the thing is, like,
at some point, it could be at 65 at this rate.
I was talking to Steve about it yesterday, and there's not even a good possibility to short because, okay, there's two ways you can short this company. One, you could short the stock, which is stupid because if you saw anything for GameStop, people are just going to keep buying this thing, and you don't know when that short is going to blow up in your face. So number one, the risk to reward on going short on a company that's actually making money and growing is stupid. Unless they're committing some kind of like serious fraud in the background, then yeah, there could be something there. But if you're trying to short purely on valuation, that's just dumb. You don't do that. On the other hand, you can do it through options where you do take a little bit of a risk on trying to use a strategy where you're risking very little capital, but if it does go down, your upside is massive. I don't necessarily see any of those strategies right now that are going to be effective. I mean, outside of maybe some iron condors that I haven't run a price on, but yeah, like the puts right now, even with this run up, are still super goddamn expensive. IV will eventually drop, and hopefully that'll give some opportunities. But dude, I don't know. I'm just there's easier ways to make money in this market than trying to short the hottest AI stock, quote unquote. That's it. Like, what's the market cap of Lockheed Martin? I think Palantir is worth more than Lockheed Martin right now.
Lockheed Martin is 128, so Palantir is just under Lockheed Martin.
Yeah. How about this, Chris? How about this? It is half the valuation of Salesforce and generates not even a tenth of the free cash flow.
So I want to stick on that. Chris, how do you justify being half Salesforce's valuation, but not even a tenth of the free cash flow?
I mean, I think that this is literally it's a retail heavy driven.
But Chris, 22% in a day cannot be retail. There's no way you believe that. Like,
why?
Retail bought $30 billion worth of stock today. Really?
Like, I think it's a combination of retail and probably some momentum and some algos doing the pumping. And I don't know where things go, man. Yeah.
So what did you think about the quarter itself? Because you saw the numbers. Did you think the numbers were good?
Yeah, I mean, numbers are good. They're producing what they need to. They're reaccelerating their growth, and that reacceleration is something that they should get a little bit of credit. But once again, remember it's a year over year comparison. So next year they'll just have tougher comps. It's going to be a question whether they're going to be able to live up to those tough comps next year. And if they're not, they'll go down. If they are, they'll go higher. And or they'll maintain the level that they're at. So I think it's all about their actual demand next year. they have done a couple of things that Coach Strap really mentioned that really helped out. Like, so last year, Coach Strap really advocated for getting a developer community like together, and with these boot camps, I think that's one of the first steps that they took, which was good because it's showing off positive results in terms of their sales. Another thing is they are pushing down market as well. So if you look at the deals that they closed, I think it was 107 deals that were like $1 million plus, right?
Yeah.
So it shows that they're no longer just trying to basically do solutions for large and mid cap companies, but now they're actually going down further into like the smaller caps. The part that is something that I'm trying to put my head around, which I can't figure out, is a combination of two things. One, how they're able to grow that small business portion, like, you know, the smaller SMBs, without having to scale up a dedicated like sales / training force. Because I think people think of sales forces as just, oh, like they just go out there and they schmooze with the CFOs and try to make a deal. Like, no, but you also have other portions where you're doing training, you know, you're working with clients to develop things. So their headcount hasn't really budged much. So how do you grow the business, but you don't grow the headcount as much? And I get it. It's a software business, you know, where you can basically just move the software there and basically they'll take care of it. But it's just, I don't know. I'm perplexed by the way that these guys are able to scale without adding headcount. And that's something I wish Snowflake and some of these other guys would take a little bit of a page from, because I think like you look at Snowflake, the amount of employees they have, they're like almost 7,000 employees. And I'm asking myself, like, what are you all doing? Like, you know, like how do you guys justify that thing? And then you have Palantir, which only has, I think, 2,200 or 2,300 employees, and they're able to still grow pretty consistently. So I feel like there are some companies out there that definitely need to like reevaluate their headcounts and say, you know, hey, listen, we need to get a little bit more leaner so that this way the money that we're generating ends up going to shareholder value creation rather than just employee compensation for just twiddling their thumbs, you know?
Steve, any thoughts on that?
You'll be happy that I actually paid to roll some options right now in one of my accounts.
Okay, there you go. Sometimes,
and I'm not being cheap, but this doesn't make sense, and I still stand by that. Just because.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make sense. But
Chris, you think this thing comes back to 30?
Yeah, eventually, dude. It easily comes back to 30. I just don't know. The thing is, I don't know when it's going to happen. How far? If you're looking at, so one of the best investment advices that I got, not recently, but like a while ago, that I really started to apply more so nowadays is, don't look today, look 5 years out. And the thing is, even after 5 years, this thing looks overvalued in terms of like 30% year-over-year growth continuously for the next 5 years. And I know some people are going to say, you know, like, look at my spreadsheet, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I'm directly taking a shot at Amir, because I think he's one of those people that will modify the Excel spreadsheet to fit the narrative rather than actually be objective about it. And so,
please do not go into a DCF model of Palantir, because it's going to look like a freaking $12 stock.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do it the right way with all the correct computations, it looks nothing like what the market is presenting.
Yeah. So it is what it is. The point is, Palantir still overvalued. They've got a great mission on their hands. They're doing well in that regard. The only thing is, I'd say, you know, it's due for a pullback. But when that pullback is coming is anyone's guess.
What if 120 billion is undervalued right now?
Listen, Meta got down to freaking 80. Was it almost $100 billion, and they were generating 25 billion in free cash flow? Look, the market is stupid. Okay, we just have to all remember that.
Yeah.
So right now, Palantir's on the opposite end of that. The valuation just makes no sense. There's tons of. The one thing that irks me a little bit, and that people are not even trying to address or count, is if you look at the cash flow statement, right, for Palantir, just look at how much money they've got from proceeds from share issuances by options exercises. So if you look at the options exercises, like Karp has been exercising a crap ton in options, and he's been paid like, I think $4 to $10, something like that per share. and then selling it in the open market. But the problem is that that share count is just growing exponentially. I mean, it's at 2.4 something billion shares outstanding.
Yeah, that's why they said when they said they bought back 1.8 million shares, it's a nothing burger. It's like absolutely nothing.
Yeah, like, and the problem is it doesn't make sense for them to buy back shares at this valuation because they're burning cash.
Yeah.
You know that it's dumb to buy it right now. So they're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place where they want to do buybacks because they do have a lot of cash on the balance sheet, but the cash on the balance sheet is not even going to make a drop against the market cap that it's already at. So what do you do? Like, how does management and Carp just keeps hyping this thing up like it's the next greatest thing, and I'm like, okay, hey man, you're doing your job as CEO. So I will say that one thing could eventually tank this thing, and maybe it's Alex Carp leaving the company.
Yeah, I just, given what I know about him, he like eats, sleeps, and breathes Palantir, so I don't think he's leaving anytime. I do think there's a little risk if he leaves, but I don't think that risk is anytime near. I think the bigger risk is valuation. I get what you're saying. I just keep coming back to this idea that good companies have been overvalued or expensive for a long time. What is your thought against that statement when I say that?
I mean, it's true. You're absolutely right, but not at the level that we're talking about right now. I mean, if you're telling me, hey, this growth company's got a PE of 40, 50, and it's still, growing pretty substantially, and they're growing their EPS, I'd say fine. Let's look at it. And especially if they're using their excess cash flow to buy back shares, that's another thing. If the share counts are going up, Palantir's share count has just absolutely exploded, and it's going higher. So yes, right now everyone's looking at the stock price. The real thing you should be looking at is market cap, just like you said before. The market cap has just gone absolutely crazy, and so the enterprise value is just nuts. So,
but so Chris, here's another thing. So I know you're not a big fan of Dan Ives, but Bank of America put out a report, and in their report they're saying we just see so many opportunities for Palantir to expand. Price target 55 a year out. A year out, if 50 doesn't make sense right now, a year out, it's not like the number is going to get that much better where 55 makes sense. How do you rationalize Bank of America kind of making that thesis to their institutional clients that buying it at 50 makes sense because of the potential that we think is emerging in this company?
Dude, these analysts get shit wrong all the time. All right. If analysts were right all the time, there would be no market. We would just look at price targets and be like, okay, he said this, let's buy it at that. You have analysts on the other side, like Brent Thill, saying it's much lower. I mean, if you ask me who to trust more, I'd say probably trust Brent Thill more. He's got more of a proven track record. Yeah, I'm sure he's wrong a couple of times here and there, especially with market irrationality the way that it is. But I think a lot of people right now, like, I know you guys are making fun of him, like, oh, look, he's all mad and blah, blah, blah. But you're talking about a guy who's been, pretty right and consistent on a lot of things. He's a pretty good analyst. So I don't know. If you guys want to make fun of him, go ahead. But a lot of what he's saying is rooted in math and actual valuations, and rather than, hey, I just want to give a arbitrary price target higher to basically, like, I don't know, get my what is that thing called? Like, I don't know, reputation. Yeah.
All right, Steve, any final thoughts?
I just spent even more money rolling my options.
Dude, I feel like you have enough theta where you don't have to roll today, at least.
Wait, I am not letting these things get called away the way my REIT did.
Dude, he has covered calls, but like, dude, if TJ couldn't get his $12 Palantir shares get called away, why would someone call away $35 calls from you? You know?
You know what? I'm protecting it just in case. I bought back a lot of upside for pennies on the dollar.
All right.
Like, I legitimately bought back a lot of upside, about 11 cents on the dollar.
Look, if it's not your money, then it's
no. I used my money, but it's money I made from other options.
So it's not your money.
Other people's money.
Yeah, it's other people's money.
But and look, if Palantir corrects, I will be in a great position to reverse roll, and I'll make that money back.
Okay, so last question. Let me ask you guys both this. Chris, your thoughts on this first. Rishi raised his price target from 9 to 11. Do you like? Is there any part of you that?
That's just his way of fucking with the market, dude. Like, this guy doesn't believe in the company, doesn't believe in everything. So that's fine. I mean, look, this is what it is. Analysts go in either direction. Some of them have really stupid price targets, and some of them have really great price targets, and some of them are just absolutely batshit crazy. So I wouldn't go based on just one analyst saying this. I will say this though. If this AI is a bubble. Okay, let's just get this out.
Hold on. I thought you're bullish on
don't
Nvidia. Why are you saying it's a bubble?
AI is a bubble, and Alex Karp is right there, just fucking blowing that bubble bigger and bigger. And Palantir is the poster child.
Oh my goodness.
All right,
Steve.
And when AI finally, this bullshit fucking bubble finally collapses, that's when Palantir is going to take that massive hit. So I will say this. I'll go on record saying this. I think AI is a bubble. I think all of us are delusional.
How are you long Nvidia then?
Say that again?
You're long Nvidia. How are you long Nvidia if it's a bubble?
Because Nvidia is a whole different thing, man. Nvidia is actually generating a lot of infrastructure money that's coming in. Palantir is not in that same, even remotely in that same thing. Alex Karp and the team, they're smart in knowing how to market to this thing to like, oh, look, we've got AI for, what is it, not AI, we've got software for crypto. What happened with that? We've got software for SPACs. What happened with that? I mean, these guys are literally clout chasers. Right now, they're clout chasing AI, quote unquote. I don't think they're a real AI company. I agree with some of the comments that people are making on that. Eventually, I think the valuation will come down. I think a lot of these companies are getting sold. Oh, look, you want to have an AI strategy? Use Palantir. Palantir is a great company. And a lot of these businesses, I don't know what the retention rate is going to look like in the future. But once these CFOs and CEOs figure out that we're paying for something that may or may not actually be working, they'll get around it, and they'll be like, okay, maybe we don't need to renew this expensive ass contract that's not providing value.
Steve, is AI a bubble?
AI is not a bubble.
Is Palantir a bubble?
A bubble? I mean, it's hard to say it's a bubble. Is it overvalued? Yes, it's very overvalued at the moment. And I don't know if it's a bubble per se, but look, you have the largest companies in the world spending a ridiculous amount of money on what they are saying is going to drive growth in the future. And when you look at the amount of CapEx that's being spent from not the Mag 7, but the big five from tech, excluding Tesla and NVIDIA, you don't spend that type of CapEx and then say you're going to spend even more next year if AI is a bubble. How AI is going to be utilized, I don't think we really know yet. But the biggest companies in the world and the smartest people in the world are telling us this is the future. We're betting a ridiculous amount of money on building out the infrastructure, and it's not a bubble.
Well, no, here's the thing. Any new technology, when it comes out, people go apeshit crazy with it, and they build infrastructure like there is no tomorrow. And there's a way that you make money on that. Like, you look at the year 2000, everyone knew the internet was going to be a big thing. Everyone. It wasn't a question. The problem is the valuations on a lot of companies like diapers.com and dogfood.com, they went up like crazy because everyone thought, well, every single thing that's AI is going to make a ton of money, so I need to be in something. People are using Palantir as a proxy play for their AI exposure. AI will eventually be dialed back, and it'll be a gradual move up in the technology and everything else. And I think that'll be fine. You know, that's when you kind of want to. I think, once again, it's something that Soros said. There's 3 times you can make money in whenever these bubbles come around. You can make money when the bubble is inflating. You can make money when the bubble is deflating, and you can make money in the reinflation trade where the bubble is going to now, for the next, however many years, get back to normal again. It happened with the railroads in the United States. Okay, at one point, everyone wanted to build a railroad. The railroads were going to be the future. Then the railroads collapsed, and then they consolidated. And then you had a whole period of railroads making sense again. So same thing. This has happened time and time again. I still don't understand how people keep falling for these damn bubbles, but it happens. We fell for the SPAC bubble. We fell for the 3D printing bubble. Remember that bullshit? That was going to revolutionize manufacturing. Didn't do dog shit. It's all of this AI stuff that we're seeing right now. Yeah, there's some use cases on the fringes, but it's not enough that's generating tangible value that tells me that this thing is not going to eventually correct sometime. I don't know if it's going to be next year. I don't know if it's going to be the year after that. But when it does, the market is going to come down. And when the market comes down, the people who have cash, they'll be able to buy up a lot of great quality names super cheap. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Steve, any final thoughts?
I'm just in awe of what is going on right now.
Just, remember Teladoc? Everyone was gonna just go to doctors using the
dude. I get your point. I just think Palantir is a different. It's a no. I'm not saying Palantir is cheap right now. I totally agree with both of you. I think most people in the chat do. It's just I don't think this thing needs to come back to 25 or 30. I think there's too much liquidity and too much demand, and they're reaccelerating growth. And if we have a little bit of imagination, and we think what they can really do over the next 10 years, I think this becomes a really good story that might just be expensive.
Look, if you want to do just a back of that envelope like math in your brain, okay? Like let's say right now they're generating like 20 times free cash flow. Let's say 20 times free cash flow, right? That gives them a valuation of about $20 billion in market cap. Now, what does that mean? That means that right now it's trading at 112. Bring that all the way down to freaking like, what is it, like 20% of what the current value is, and that's what technically the price target should be. Now, let's say you want to go even further. Let's say you want to do 30 times free cash flow, right? 30 times free cash flow. Once again, it'll be what? 30 times free cash flow. It'll be 30 billion, right? Look, which means this thing should be shaved off almost 60 to 70%.
But then you're giving it zero premium for stuff that really matters. Like there's a lot of things.
Hold on. Forget about growth rates for a moment. I'll weave it in there. But a company that generates $100 billion in free cash flow and trades at about 33, 34 times their free cash flow. Palantir's valuation trading at 112 times free cash flow is crazy. Even if you want to give them a premium on growth, say 50 to 60 times is the premium. You have the largest companies in the world that are still growing, trading at 35 times and lower. Meta and Alphabet both trade around 20 to 25 times free cash flow. And they're still growing.
And not to mention, they're buying back shares. They're not issuing new shares. You know,
guys, here's the real question. In 10 years, do you really think Palantir is not going to be above $100 billion? If most people in the chat are in this for the long term, do we really think Palantir is not going to be closer to 500 billion in 10 years?
No, it's not about 10 years. It's about, is it going to retrace here? And is this getting to nosebleed section? And is this a healthy market at that?
Well, that's fair. I mean, and entry price does matter. I agree. I'm just saying, you guys are acting like it might not ever get to the multi-hundred billions of dollars in market cap.
That you can go back. I said, I think this is going to be $100 to $150 at some point.
So that's basically a $300 billion company is what you're saying.
At some point, though, like right now, this is a freight train that is going to lose steam at some point. If it doesn't, it's not a healthy market. The growth rates do not support the valuation right there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The growth rate is the only thing holding this thing up. Okay, any inkling of this growth rate coming down, you're going to see a massive drop. Okay, this happened to Celsius. Celsius was doing exceptionally well when it was growing. The minute that the growth even slowed down, it didn't stop. It just slowed down. Damn thing took a massive downward move, right? So this is what I'll say. Watch those earnings. Anytime these earnings come out, look at the year over year, but then also focus on that quarter over quarter number. So if you look at Palantir, they only grew quarter over quarter 3%. Okay, right? It was only 3%, right?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, 3%. Yep.
So now, if you model that out, what is the current growth rate quarter over quarter for the last 4 quarters? Model that out and say, okay, look, on average, they've been growing, 5, 6, 7, 3, whatever. Find out what the next year's earnings what the growth rate is going to look like next year using those same quarter over quarter metrics, and then project that out, and you'll get yourself like, okay, look, year over year growth for next year is going to be X.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Chris Camillo just tweeted he doesn't give a fuck about Palantir's PE. What is your response to someone like him when you're talking about the metrics, yada yada?
Okay, listen, there's one question: is he buying here or not?
I don't know, but he just said he doesn't give a fuck about Palantir's PE.
He cannot care about the PE if he's doing this as a momentum trade.
But he's also not selling here. So that still says something, right?
Listen, Chris,
and nobody's saying it can't go higher. I'm just saying that at this valuation, there's no entry point.
The other thing is, remember, Chris Camillo is a momentum trader. He looks for momentum, finding out news from. Remember, that's what he said it himself. He didn't say, oh yeah, I use this metric, I use that. No, he said, I follow the trends. If I see something trending higher, I buy it. And if I see it about to turn and trend lower, I sell it. That is his investing strategy, and it works really well for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say someone who's momentum trading, they're absolutely killing it right now because they see the positive momentum of Palantir and they've been in it for a while, you know. But if you're talking about guys like me and Steve who are more valuation driven, we're not going to have the same thesis as Chris Camillo.
Yeah. All right. I think this was a good discussion. Healthy discussion on a day like this, as we're above $50. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Chris, we'll see you at 7 p.m. tonight talking election.
Yep. Look at you guys. 7 p.m. election crew.
Yeah, Steve, you could join us too. You know, we would love
Not joining.
to. We'd love to have you talk about politics.
We're going to have the first female Indian black president. So it's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's going to be great.
You think we get a winner tonight, Chris? You think she or he has decided tonight?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be right at tonight, but all she really needs, look, at this point, is three states: Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. If she gets those three, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, all those don't matter. And I'm telling you, all these polling sites right now, they are getting it wrong. Like, not polling sites, but the betting sites, they're getting it wrong. And it's TJ even like tweeted at me. He's like, oh, let me know when I should send you my Cash App. I was like, you see, this is the market euphoria that's probably going to cause the loss. So we'll see what happens.
And then I will say one thing. I've never met anybody who's ever been contacted by a pollster. The betting markets are just people placing bets on what they think is going to happen. I wouldn't put any stock in any of it. I think that this is going to be a close race.
I think you're right. It'll be a very close
I don't
race.
think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be close at all, to be honest with you guys. Come on.
Oh, I hope it's a blowout, regardless of who wins. I hope it's a blowout so we don't have to hear about the contested election.
Agreed. I'm telling you, man, these old. No, I don't want. You know what? I'm already like on the borderline of being canceled, so it's okay. I'm not going to say what I want to say.
Well, we'll talk about it tonight. We'll have plenty to talk about.
Yep.
It's going to be a live all night. All right. I'll see you later, Chris. Thank you guys for joining. Everyone appreciates it. Talk later. Dude, we have a freaking election today. It's just crazy, bro. It's just absolutely crazy. Okay, so we have touched 51 3 times at this point. It looks like we might touch it again. I need to tweet out this Bank of America thing. So give me 1 second, guys. I got to tweet this out and get this report out there. Look, I thought it was a good discussion. I thought it was healthy. And, difference of perspectives is good. It's what allows us to find different ideas. And so, yeah, I mean, look, if Chris wasn't bullish at 30, he's not going to be bullish at 50. Steve, on the valuation front, I get where he's coming from. I get where both of them are coming from. I think most of the people in the chat get where they're coming from in terms of valuation, like half of Salesforce with 10x less of the free cash flow. I get it. It's just, this is what it means to be a tech investor, dude. Sometimes there are companies that end up taking people's imagination and their stock prices reflect that. That doesn't mean there can't be pullbacks. It's just 2024 has been one of those momentum years for Palantir. And that's why we're seeing it at $50 right now. Can you guys fucking believe it's $50 right now, dude? Like, this is like, I don't know, dude. It's just, it is, I don't know what to say. It's just, it's incredible. It's really incredible. I wonder how the Palantir employees must be feeling as well, dude, seeing this thing go up. Like, this is just, when I was at AIPCon, I talked to a bunch of them. And even I think it was $35, not the actual employees, the alumni, and they still have a bunch of shares. And they were just like, I don't get how it's $35, dude. I don't get it. Like, because they're smart people as well, right? And they've been along for the company for a long time. They never expected it to even IPO. So the fact that it's at 35 is crazy for them. And so now that it's at 50, I imagine some of those people are just like, holy crap, dude. Like, Karp really pulled it off, Karp really built a company and look, part of building a company is capturing the imagination of investors. I mean, what is a startup? A startup is literally nothing, no revenue, no profits, just an idea. And people are giving you millions of dollars, hoping you can become a big company one day. Like, that's a uniquely American sort of entrepreneurial spirit that we have in this country, which is the reason why we have all the best tech companies. But in the public markets, there's a little bit of that as well. If you don't have all the metrics to live up to conventionally how something should be traded, you have to have the ability to inspire investors to believe in something greater, like Western values, protecting America, actually giving a shit about your clients, not just giving them a steak dinner. And that has to be factored, in my opinion, into a valuation, even if it doesn't justify crazy multiples. It is part of the valuation, and it justifies to an extent the rise of the stock. And I think a lot of the conventional analysts, they just never cared about that at all. Whereas, people like me, Arnie, Steve, when we're listening to Karp talk about this stuff, we're taking him very seriously, and that stuff is manifesting into a real share price appreciation built off of the growth of people believing in that vision. And that is a reason at the end of the day why people invest. They just believe in it, even if it is expensive. It's just one of those things. I mean, if you believed in Tesla's vision of advancing the world to sustainable energy when they were worth $50 billion and almost going bankrupt, they probably weren't supposed to be worth $50 billion at the time, but you believed in that vision, and then Elon pulled it off, right? And then it's just one of those things where sometimes you take a chance, and that doesn't mean you're always going to be right, but there are moments where there's a chance that they can be right. Okay, I really have to tweet this thing, so let me pull up a video. It'll take me like 5 minutes to put this report out there, and let's keep this going. How long have we been live? Been live for what, 3 hours? Holy crap, 3 hours and 25 minutes. Bitcoin pumping? Is Bitcoin pumping right now? Robinhood as well, 25.15. Nice reversal on Robinhood, up 3.4% of the day. Really, really good price action on Robinhood. Bitcoin 70,338. I don't know. It feels like the market's thinking Trump is going to win with Bitcoin and DJT up. That is a little weird, but I guess today we will find out kind of how this plays out. Lockheed Martin up at 544. Nvidia also touching close to 140 again, up 2.3% after getting back into the Dow Jones. Or getting into the Dow Jones index for the first time last Friday. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to see if we have. Oh, let's listen to the professor. Let's listen to him. He had some interesting thoughts yesterday on. This is the NYU professor. Then we'll listen to Jeremy Siegel. He was also on CNBC this morning. But let's get his thoughts on what he thinks about the Mag 7 as well. All right, so let's play this right here. Where's Palantir? Palantir, $50.91. Guys, the fact that we've held 50 for basically an hour now, I mean, it's kept the same playbook as 30 and 40. We broke through those levels. And now at 50, it's pretty incredible that we're holding it and people are buying it at 50. Whether it's fund managers or retail, people are indeed buying it right here, which is amazing to see. All right, let me pull this up. Why weren't Nvidia and the Dow till now? I don't know. I think it was just the timing thing. I mean, the Dow always rebalances. Same thing with the S&P 500. So I guess they decided last week that it was time to get rid of Intel and bring on Nvidia into the Dow Jones.
Shareholder and an observer, and both are valuable to us. You've had a chance now to digest these. What's your takeaway?
I think that these companies have become really good at playing the earnings game. I mean, you look at them, they look at the expectations, they come in 2 to 3% above. At this point, you're wondering why even bother with the expectations? They're going to beat it by 2 or 3%. I think the real story, though, is deeper in the earnings reports, and I think you see it play out with, for instance, Microsoft. The recognition that AI's products and services, the potential is there, but the promise is not being delivered in terms of monetization. So I look across the companies, no blowouts in either direction, but I think in many ways, what you need to be looking for is a change in narrative, and it's not coming right now. It's pretty much the same narrative that's been running them all year long.
Amazon, though, I don't know if I'd agree necessarily. If you look at Amazon, that seemed to have been maybe the standout, that right. They've sort of figured it out, right? Jassy figured out a way to spend enormously and maintain a high level of profitability after they've gone through a bit of inefficiency. How would you assess what they've done?
No, I think in many ways, I mean, I described Amazon as a field of dreams company 20 years ago, where I said, if we build it, they will come. And for decades, the market gave them room to build up revenues. And I think we're finally starting to see the profit side deliver. So I think part of the rise in Amazon, so one of the other companies all have sky high margins. Amazon has not. So when you see Amazon's margins increase, it's a delivery on a promise that's been long in the making. But finally, you're starting to see the numbers being delivered. And I think investors are, that's part of the reason you're seeing the stock price reflect.
Do you think that the Meta and Microsoft sell-offs were justified or overdone?
I think they were justified because I think when I first heard of the AI products and services, I accept that the market can be huge. But every company in this space that's trying to deliver products and services is discovering it's a lot more difficult to convert that promise into profits. I mean, people might say they want an AI product, but I'm not sure they want to pay for it as much as these companies expect them to pay. So I think we'll have some back and forth. I mean, if you do get a hit and it makes money on a subscription basis or as a transactional basis, I think we'll see the market reward the companies. But for the moment, I think the market is in pause mode saying, show me the money.
You tell our producers that the Mag 7 are at risk of a correction, and you think the election is one of the catalysts for that?
Yeah, I was just listening in on the bull argument for markets. And the more I listen to the bullish argument, the less I think of it because there's so little behind it. Because so much of what's being talked about is already baked in. The market is already baking in an expectation that earnings will be up 15% a year. For that to happen, all the good stuff you talked about has to happen. So at this stage, the expectations game for markets have been set up. So I'm not sure even if that good stuff happens after the election, I'm not sure it will, that you're going to see the market go up as much as, the people on your panel thought it would. And to be honest, I don't think the Fed is going to be the player that drives this game. I mean, it's a follower more than a leader in this process.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how would you assess the valuations of these stocks? I'm looking at the forward PEs. Not in every case have they gone up. In fact, in a few cases they've come in. Microsoft's has come in from the beginning of the year. Alphabet's has done the same. Amazon's has done that as well. Apple more or less is even. I mean, how? And I understand that these things have stopped trading as a monolith. So it's hard for you to address them as a group. But do you look at these and say, well, the valuations in general are pretty reasonable?
I mean, collectively, if you think the Mag 7 is overvalued, you're also telling me the market is overvalued. That's why I think if there's a correction that comes, it's going to come from the market correcting, not from these Mag 7 dropping off while the rest of the market goes up. In fact, I find it hard to visualize a scenario where the Mag 7 is down 10% and the market is up 10 or 15%. I mean, I just can't see that happening. So I think if you own these stocks already, the thing you're worrying about is, will there be a market correction? And if so, how much will the Mag 7 lose in terms of value? At 12 trillion, you have a lot to lose. I mean, you're much on the table that you can give up.
Have you sold any of your own positions in these names? I just like to keep our viewers up to date, since, as I suggested, you're an observer, but you're a shareholder in many of these names too.
I sold half of my NVIDIA about a year and a half ago, but since then I haven't traded down in any of them. And I haven't increased my position either. I feel pretty good about what I have because I frame it in terms of what I originally paid for these stocks, not what they traded at their high 3 months ago, 2 months ago. So I'm okay with where I am. And that's the only thing that I have to be as an investor, is to be okay with my own decisions.
Amazing. Jerry, you got to see this. Saying it.
Look, I think he's making some fair points. At the end of the day, yes, Mag 7 is a bit frothy. The only thing is they all crushed earnings and they all put up amazing numbers outside of Apple, which was kind of bleh, but still amazing numbers, even if it's not crazy growth. But the broader question I have is, does some of that money leave the Mag 7 and go into what we're looking at right here, like Palantir? I mean, well, here's the question for the chat. Let's see what people say. Would you rather own Google at 170 for the next 5 years or Palantir at 50 if you had to buy at current levels? Because there is an argument that the broadening of the rally means Mag 7 underperforms, but that doesn't take the market down with it. I do get his point that if Mag 7 fall 10%, the market falls 10%. I think he's absolutely correct on that. But if Mag 7 is flat and the rest of the market kind of has some room to run, like small caps, which is what we've been thinking about, what happened for a while, then maybe the market is not that contingent on Mag 7. Yeah, I see a lot of Palantirs here. And look, I know the chat is a bit biased here, but still, I mean, if you're betting on the future, we just got through a whole discussion with Steve saying Palantir is ridiculously overvalued. Steve would say Google in a heartbeat. I know his answer, but I still would want Palantir at 50 versus Google at 160. Like, if you're talking about the next 5 years, I mean, look, either over the next 5 years, Palantir is still going to be $50 and all of us are going to be like, I guess it's finally grown into the valuation at 100 billion in 2030. Or this is a growth story that's not stopping and it'll always be expensive and it'll be much higher than $50, even if the valuation doesn't fully make sense. Whereas Google probably will be higher than 160, but will it 3, 4, 5x, even 2x? Maybe, maybe not. Palantir's on CNBC. Okay, let me pull that up. Let's pull up some of that stuff. Let's see what they're talking about with them. Oh, yeah, we got him on CNBC right now. Okay. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. I think my Mac is getting tired of me streaming. They're like, dude, it's been 3 hours. It's like moving so slow now.
Unbelievable, unwavering demand as it relates to AI from government and enterprise, Scott. It really was just a spectacular growth. The commercial business growing 50%, the government business growing 40%. And guess what? There's still skepticism. We talked about this yesterday. The analyst community does not believe the move in Palantir. The average 12-month price target was $28. All they did today was bump it up to 33. That's 33% lower from where the price is today. There's still 6 sells, 10 holds, and only 4 buys on the stock. So I think the most important thing for long-term investors is this. Find another software company, an emerging software company that is actually profitable, turned profitable in 2023, that has the type of exposure to the artificial intelligence revolution that Palantir has. Very few software companies have that. And I think what happens now is that 40, which was previously the ceiling, I think 40 becomes the floor for the stock. Now, look, the stock is trading near $51 today. A lot of activity in the options market, $50 calls, $60 calls. The stock could easily pull back. But I think on a pullback, this is really a foundational name, a core equity holding when you're thinking about AI and software companies with exposure to AI that you want to have ownership with.
Baruch wants his chance at 35, 38. You know, Joe's suggesting you might not get
35, 38.
That's where he wants $35, between 35 and 38. That's where he's going to tell you right now why, but that's where he suggested he would. Not $35.38. No. I wouldn't tolerate that. Go ahead.
No, I would love the opportunity. This is one of those few names that we definitely missed. And, I think when you talk about what they're able to accomplish, you talk about Druckenmiller and Buffett, talk about fat pitches. This was a name that really had a lot of momentum and has continued to rally. They put up the numbers. And if anybody's still short this name, I mean, God bless them. They're not. There's no way that people are short. So for us, we didn't take the chance on it. You can't own all of it, but I think all of the names that are really driving. I think at $35 to $38, if we come back down there, this is a name I want to be buying down there and have within our portfolio. But we do take a lot of risk in tech. We have the Nvidias, we have the Broadcoms. So it's more about hunkering down. You don't want to swing at the fat pitch if you're already up 5 to 3, and you need to kind of get through things. So that's kind of the way I looked at it. But I do regret not owning it here for sure.
Favorite software name, Joe? Is this it undoubtedly, or I don't want it to be my words. Let's put it in your words.
Without question, Palantir. It's been a remarkable year of appreciation. Very quietly, there is another name that I'm keeping my eye on. I'm going to resurrect the name that we used to talk about years ago. Pull up a chart of Twilio for the viewers if you can. Twilio's making a nice little recovery. I've got my eye on that one. We'll see where it goes, Scott.
All right, good stuff, Joe. Thanks, and enjoy that one today. I know you will. That's Joe Terranova. And by the way, we've talked so much about the election. We're live.
It's funny to see that. Basically, you got one analyst saying this is a foundational AI company you have to have in your portfolio, and you have the other analyst saying, yeah, we missed it. You don't really have the analysts upset at this outside of like the ones that are, have really low price targets on Palantir that we saw on CBC yesterday. But you've got general people. I don't think the people on that panel cover Palantir that deeply, but they're saying, yeah, we missed it. And the acknowledgement that they missed it in and of itself, to me, is an admission that they don't think this thing easily comes back to 30, 35 bucks. It could happen. It absolutely could happen. Just might not be that easy. And now if it goes to 45, that's a dip. Goes to 42, that's a dip. Yesterday, 42 was almost an all-time high. Today it'll be a dip. So there's momentum. There's momentum. There's excitement, and people want this name. And that's why we're seeing Palantir right here at $50.82. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. It's been 3 hours and 40 minutes, almost 4 hours. So thank you all for being here this morning. Incredible day for shareholders. It's been a hell of a 2024. If you've been in the name, if you've been part of the community, and if you even recently got in at 30 bucks or 25 bucks or even $40, new all-time highs, 52-week highs is incredible. So regardless of what happens to the stock, I think all of us should be mentally prepared if it takes a mean pullback. But I don't think it has to take a mean pullback given the momentum they showed yesterday. Is the valuation up there? Yeah, but it'll be an ongoing debate forever on what is the way to value Palantir. And if you can't value Palantir, then you're going to get a lot of people that just want more of Palantir if they can't give a definitive valuation. And that might just end up leaving the stock price to continue to appreciate, even if it doesn't conventionally make sense. And again, the one thing I will say to end it off, we don't know what can happen in the future for Palantir. We just don't know. We don't know what the next 10 years actually looks like when it comes to AI. All these models, everything is so new. Like, there could be a lot of tailwinds we're not thinking about that the street is betting on. And if those tailwinds materialize, if it's at $75, buying it at 50, buying it at 40, it won't matter that much if the growth story is intact. Now, the growth story has to be intact, and that's something we're all keeping an eye on like hawks. And we all kept an eye on it on Palantir Weekly. We would discuss what the metrics look like. So I think the intellectualism of caring about those numbers is very strong in the community. It's not like I'm joking when I'm saying like market cap, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of really smart people in this community that give a fuck about these numbers and are tracking them to make sure that it makes sense. And I think we'll continue to do that and see how Palantir continues to execute over the coming years. Word of the day is eviscerate. Word of the day has to be eviscerate. That is the word of the day. We got to give Karp the word of the day. He said on the earnings call yesterday, we eviscerated this quarter. So we got to give Dr. Alex Karp the word of the day at eviscerate. Incredible quarter, incredible journey, and we got a long journey to go. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I will be live at 7 p.m. And at 7 p.m., I'll be talking about the election and seeing everything else going on in the world of the election. And I'll have Chris and a bunch of people join, and we'll have a lot to talk about. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will see you guys later tonight at 7 p.m. for the election. It's going to be a long night, and congratulations for being on the journey of Palantir. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you later tonight. Bye-bye.